along with Matthew on the bench. Scott and Jordan both fouling out, with the Beacons unable to get the ball across the half-court line, and it's their 5th personal of the quarter, so Western will shoot the double bonus for the final 5:44.
And Western shooting great on free throws today. 76.5%.
13 of 17, make it 14 of 18. Labonte knocking down the first to cut it to a 50-47 game. Iannotti back in there for number 21, Mirzewski.
And Michaela Illabodi checked in the game. She was dominant down low in the first quarter, but you haven't seen much of her since.
Labonte knocks down both, give her 16 for the game, 4 of 4 from the free throw line. Tashai Price back into the game for Sherwood. Bursting out there with Edwards, Geary, Illabodi, and Kelsey. Illabodi's calling for it. Kelsey has the hot hand. Geary's been good as well. Geary with 16 over to Edwards. Not comfortable that far away from the basket. Illabodi still working. Pass way too strong, finds Geary. Geary behind the back look, finds Edwards for another open 2, and the lead is 4.
And we talked about her great passing before in the highlight reel. Another great pass by Geary to find Katrina Edwards for a lay-in.
Triple team still able to find it. Labonte wide open from the corner, knocks it down. It's a 1-point game, 52-51.
We talked about it before. The Beacons really have to emphasize guarding Labonte behind the three-point line.
She has been red hot from distance. 3 of 8, all 3 of her threes coming here in the second half. Give her 19 for the game. Geary, the 4-footer, blocked out of bounds by the larger Labonte. Under 5 minutes. That stoppage will take us to our final media timeout of the game. UMass Boston leading by a single point, 52-51, 4:45 left. Stick with us, folks, after this commercial break for the exciting conclusion of this Little East Conference contest.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school. But every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
And talking about birthdays, our sports information director, Dave Wahlberg, happy birthday to you. I know you're listening in right now. Congrats on the birthday.
Dave down at the scorer's table, providing the stats for both ends of this Little East Conference doubleheader. UMass Boston leads 52-51. Possession arrow right now with Western Connecticut State. 5 fouls against the Beacons in the quarter already. 3 for Western Connecticut State. So the Colonials will shoot the double bonus the rest of the way. The Beacons need to draw 2 more fouls. Already 2 players have fouled out for UMass Boston. Maritza Scott and Chantel Jordan. Katie Matthew out there with 4 fouls. Emily Dobson has returned. She has 4 as well.
We've heard the whistle all night. It was no surprise when 2 players fouled out this early for the Beacons. But we talked about it before. They went to overtime last game, not having those 2 players.
Geary finds Matthew on the inbounds, able to finish. That was close to a 5-second call. Sorry for interrupting you there. Beacons have feasted, especially here in the fourth, on their inbounds, able to find cutters for easy looks. 3-point lead. There's a good cut. Dobson draws the 5th on Matthew and has a chance to tie it up at 54. Third player to foul out for UMass Boston. Christina Ball running out of bodies on the bench. She's got Quinones, Illabodi, and Rivera, 3 bench players who have saw some time today. Already has seen one of her starters foul out, 2 of her key bench players. Now Ariana Rivera, the sophomore out of Burlington, will replace Matthew. And that's a tough spot because the Beacons need their small forward, per se, Jordan, Matthew, whoever's in that spot, a guard who's playing the forward position, to rebound, pass the ball, play good defense, and probably play someone bigger than them. Not an easy look for Rivera, who hasn't seen a ton of time in this game as we're tied at 54.
I'd have to disagree with you. I think that it's tough for the Beacons, but Rivera has been playing great basketball for the Beacons in the last couple weeks.
Rivera dribbles it off her foot. Geary able to pick it up with 12. Stripped. They're going to call the foul on the floor. Labonte, not one of the players who's in a ton of foul trouble. That's only her 3rd. Actually, her second. Fourth team foul on the Colonials. Every foul from here on out, unless it's offensive, will lead to free throws. Kelsey for Edwards on the free throw line. Looking to have players clear out. Tries to get it back down low for Kelsey. Good pass underneath against Iannotti. Another basket in the paint for UMass Boston. Christina Ball will call the timeout. Her team leading by 2 with 3:57 to go. Steve, huge 4 minutes for both team seasons coming up. What do you need to do if you're either side here to come away with the W?
Well, I mean, obviously the officiating's been tough all night. It's just not fouling and making free throws when you get the opportunity. And mentioning Rivera checking into the game, a very good free throw shooter for the Beacons at 68.7% this year.
Neither side came in shooting particularly well from the free throw line this year, both under 70%. The Beacons were the statistically better free throw shooting team. They'll actually bring in Alicia Quinones at least to start this 3:57 chunk. Sure that we'll see mixing and matching for Christina Ball, looking for scoring, defense, rebounding. You have Ilabodi to come off if you need a key rebound or a key stop. Quinones can do a little bit of everything, as can Rivera. Quinones has a couple of inches on Rivera, though, as she guards against Price here. The handoff for Iannotti, couldn't quite handle it. Labonte kicks it out, looking for Dobson at corner three, knocks it down, and Western has the lead right back at 57-56.
And I was just about to mention that. Another thing the Beacons have to do is really guard the three-point and the outside shooting game for the Colonials.
Dobson started to get hot, but the Beacons answer.
Raven Kelsey staying hot in this half.
Kelsey with the long two, I believe, as they ruled that Dobson shot was a two as well. So 58-56 UMass Boston. Price working on Quinones. Edwards gets over, causes the altered shot, and it's way off the mark. UMass Boston chance to extend this lead. Neither side is led by more than 6. 3 minutes to go in regulation. UMass Boston looking to move to 4-3 in conference play and split the season series. Geary around Hurlburt, off glass, can't quite finish. Labonte has the rebound. 2-on-1 break. Price with Dobson running to her left. Back to Price. Almost able to finish. Then it looked like it was falling out on the second effort off the front of the rim and down to tie it at 58. And that's maybe a little bit, got ahead of myself on that one. Looked like Price might have actually left that up short. Edwards from the elbow working on Iannotti. Iannotti giving her space off the glass, and that's where Edwards is feasted today.
Edwards being huge for the Beacons, obviously down low, aggressive move, great basket.
2:15 to go. The Beacons leading 60-58 in a game that was very slow to start offensively. Both teams have picked up the pace here in the second half. Labonte downhill, long two from Dobson. Can't quite finish. Lots of players down low. Kelsey grabs the rebound off the back of Dulaire. The Beacons have 3 in the front court. Western has 3 as well. Geary all the way with the left hand. Can't finish. Edwards the rebound, blocked from behind. And Kelsey will grab it with the shot clock resetting. Minute 50 to play. Every possession becomes a bit more important at this point. Bursting across for Geary. Geary, the pass for Quinones. Quinones couldn't catch it. Hurlburt got a hand on it. Bursting across. Geary looking for a huge three. Drains it. And the Beacons lead is 63-58 with a minute 35 to play. Huge reaction from the Beacons bench after a rare three-pointer in this one. Dobson gets the handoff over to Iannotti, kicked out. Dobson wants a three from straight away, a little bit short. Iannotti gets a hand on it. Burston wins the foot race. Burston against 2 players, no need to get a shot off, and she'll slow it down. Western has a minute 10 left, 25 on the shot clock. Don't have to give the foul here, but they need a stop. Burston dribbling through, content to kill some clock. Into the hands of Geary. This is the Beacons' go-to player and has been the last 3 years. 10 on the shot clock. Crossover dribble all the way with the left hand. No good. Rebound in and out of the hands of Edwards. Picked up by Dobson with 50 to go. Western needs to push the pace. Price in there with Labonte. 2-on-1. Backside for Labonte. Fouled, but she'll have to earn it the hard way as Quinones got her enough there to alter the shot. Third on Alicia Quinones, and we'll see Caitlin Labonte, the top scorer in today's game for Western, have to go back to the line where she's 4 of 4.
I mean, a huge three-pointer for Grace Geary right there. 2 of 10 from the field for three-point for the Beacons today. Just a huge three-pointer to say the least.
Labonte looking for point number 20. It rims in and out. Her first miss from the free throw line today. Dulaire will check in for Iannotti. Beacons are to keep the same five of Edwards, Kelsey, Burston, Quinones, and Geary out there. They thought about bringing Illabodi in, but they'll keep her on the bench for the moment. Labonte goes 1 of 2. The Beacons will take one of their final remaining timeouts. 4-point game, 43.5 seconds left. While we've got a chance, let's take a look at that Grace Geary 3. UMass Boston extended the lead to 5 at that point. And this just shows scorers are always going to be confident. Bursting a good look across, and Geary just so much confidence in her own abilities.
Yeah, just finds the bottom of the net here, puts the Beacons up 5, and obviously the missed free throw by Labonte, still a two-possession game for the Beacons.
43.5 seconds left. If Western fouls, it's going to lead to free throws. They already have the 14 fouls. The Beacons need to avoid giving fouls. If you take a look at our social media page, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Twitter, we'll have updates on all 4 after today's game, and of course on beaconsathletics.com. We'll have the highlights for you of this game on YouTube. You can check out some looks from around this contest as UMass Boston leading by 4 with 43.5 seconds left. Right now, Steve, the Beacons have the ball with 30 on the shot clock. Who are you looking to get the ball into, especially knowing that Western's probably looking to foul?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, Grace Geary, great free throw shooter. Raven Kelsey, another great free throw shooter. Just got to get it and make those free throws.
Geary calls for the ball. Western not giving the foul, down by 4 with 40 seconds left. The Beacons can take this game down to about 12 seconds left. Now Labonte is going to come out and play a little bit further away. Geary asking for help from Burston, swings it for Edwards. That's the player you want to foul. Dobson not giving it. Up top for Kelsey. She can handle it. 13 left on the shot clock, 25 in the game. What is Western doing defensively? Dulaire finally gets the foul. Kimberly Ribzik was throwing her hands up in dismay. That is the last thing you want to do. You give up 20 seconds on the shot clock, and then you foul.
The best player on the court.
It just doesn't make sense to me. So often you see that. It's just a lack of awareness defensively, and Geary can make them pay if she hits both here. Hits the first one. Dulaire gave up the foul. That's her second.
I mean, in the timeout, aren't you saying foul this person or foul that
Long
person?
rebound into the hands of Edwards. Back over to Geary, and Geary has a chance to ice this game. They're not giving the foul here. Triple team. Geary dribbles out of it over to Burston, nearly turned it over. Burston, well, he's finally fouled with 10.6 seconds left, and that is as bad of a possession as Western possibly could have had. We've talked about it all night long, giving up offensive rebounds on free throws. It's the 4th or 5th instance between the two teams, and that's a killer if you're a Colonials fan. Burston knocks down the first, 65-59. If she can hit the second, it'll be the largest lead of the game for either side here with 10.6 seconds left. Burston, the calm-handed senior, knocks it down. Western timeout. And Steve, let's review that last possession. The Beacons had the ball with 41 seconds left, 30 on the shot clock. Western doesn't give the foul until 20 seconds left. They foul Geary, one of the Beacons' better free throw shooters, in fact, their best statistical one. Goes 1 of 2. You're only down at that point by 5 if you get the rebound, a chance for a 3, maybe a steal. You still have time left with about 16, 17 seconds left. Then Edwards, the hustle play to get the rebound, and then Burston, one of your better free throw shooters, knocks down both. So frustrating if you're a Western fan. Such a huge sequence if you're a Beacons fan, as this group looking to close out a win that's been difficult to do here. The Beacons have already lost 4 games at home, 2 and 4, have 2 losses already this season by 3 points. This is maybe a sign of things to come where the Beacons are able to turn that tide and win a close one, potentially.
Yeah, and with not all their players. I mean, some of their players are on the bench, obviously, and this is just great to see if you're a Beacons fan.
Western needs to get a shot up fast. They have 3 seconds into the corner. Labonte off the side of the backboard, and the Beacons win it. A huge comeback for UMass Boston. A deflating first half in which they just couldn't get anything going. UMass Boston puts up 44 points in the second half. They come from behind late to win by 7, their largest lead of the game. Steve, what was your biggest takeaway from this contest?
I mean, honestly, it's just the fact that the Beacons' resilience and their aggressiveness in the end to really seal this game off.
take a commercial break, head down low with an interview with Christina Ball, bring you the final stats, the final highlights, and then we'll bring you game 2 of our doubleheader in just about 15 minutes as UMass Boston takes on Western Connecticut State, looking for the conference doubleheader sweep.
Take me out to the ball game, take me out to the crowd, buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks.
The UMass Boston Beacons baseball team, who went 23-15 this year, and have consistently been a leader in their conference without having a home field to play on. That will change next season.
I am so happy and excited to join Boston College High School and your wonderful president to celebrate this symbol of our institution's friendship as well as our shared commitment to this special neighborhood. Not only are we thrilled to be building a new ballpark with our neighboring teams and for all of our neighboring teams, but we could not be happier to provide more space. It's not just for us, Father Monin. It's for the youth of Dorchester and South Boston to be able to play as well. So your field will be used by quite a few of us for so many wonderful things.
But my hope is that the sound of the bat, that's so irresistible to us at Fenway Park, will echo through this field and will call further together the academic communities of BC High and of UMB, but especially that it will call together the youthful neighborhood communities of boys and girls who are awaiting it so eagerly.
I can't wait to put those shovels in the ground. Thank you.
UMass is very public service focused, and it piqued my interest, and I started doing more research on it. I'm very focused on what can I do to make the world around me a better place. My name is Lydia Grasso. I'm a junior at UMass Boston studying sociology and minoring in human rights. Because I won the Chancellor's Scholarship at UMass, it allowed me to go to Cambodia. I was working at the Sihanouk Hospital Center of Hope. I was in the place of something horrible that had happened. I could either go home and kind of forget about that experience and kind of block it out, or I could do something so that things like that never happened again. UMass provides me with opportunities that I wouldn't get anywhere else and gives me a global perspective in a public setting. I definitely transformed at UMass.
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
Personally, it was to make or break us, Were we going to turn the corner defensively and rebounding and be we, not me? And I thought we did that tonight. To have 3 kids foul out and still come away and still have energy on the bench and everybody just locked in. It was great. It was great to see. It was great to see some kids step up and make big shots.
Upperclassmen, Grace Geary came alive in the third and fourth quarters as well. How big is that for some of your upperclassmen to step up? Your freshmen didn't score a lot today, but they're still learning the conference play to get your best players to play big in a big.
Yeah, it was huge. The 2 double-doubles. It's just like, confidence, and that's what winning does. It breeds confidence. So that's been kind of the motto the last week is just be confident. Forget our record, forget the score, just play the clock. And I thought we did that today.
Well, we've seen these 2 teams play in the conference tournament the last 2 years. Might be a preview for a 3rd year in a row. Thanks so much for your time, Coach. We'll take a look at the highlights from the 3rd and 4th quarters and then be back with the final stats here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Beacon shooting 15 of 18 from the free throw line, 83.3%. Misses the second, but Raven Kelsey skies the rebound, goes all the way, draws another foul and 1. a chance, looking to drive past Smith. Near side for Jordan, who's been very quiet. Kelsey has a chance to answer, knocks down the three, the first of the day for the Bears. Burston going to work. A lot of players crowding her. Kelsey will take the elbow line jumper. She's got 5. And now Hurlburt might have traveled. Doesn't get the call for the Beacons. Labonte, who's just as hot as Kelsey, have trailed for the most part in this game. Near side, Kelsey's hot. She's looking for her third three. Knocks it down for the game. UMass Boston will go with Geary, Kelsey, Edwards, Jordan, and Matthew. Long two from Kelsey. She's feeling it right now. Western Connecticut State. Geary up top. That was the second on Samantha Smith. Geary all the way, able to hit the layup, and the beat ahead. Instead, she'll take it herself. Dishes it back out for Matthew. Good closeout from Labonte. Matthew, another short jumper. She's ahead, dribbles her way through. Geary all the way to the far side now. Needs help. Goes down low for Edwards. Good position. Able to knock it down. Away from the basket. Illabodi still working. Pass way too strong. Finds Geary. Geary behind the back look. Finds Edwards for another.
Not having those two players.
Geary finds Matthew on the inbounds, able to finish. That was close to a 5-second. Kelsey for Edwards on the free throw line. Looking to have players clear out. Tries to get it back down low for Kelsey. Good pass underneath against Iannotti. Another basket in the paint for Price. Might have actually left that up short. Edwards from the elbow working on Iannotti. Iannotti giving her space off the glass, and that's where Edwards is feasted. Geary, the pass for Quinones. Quinones couldn't catch it. Hurlburt got a hand on it. Bursting across. Geary looking for a huge three. Drains it. And the Beacons lead is in there with Labonte. 2-on-1. Backside for Labonte. Fouled, but she'll have to earn it the hard way. Welcome back, folks. Right now we'll take a look at our post-game show. We're going to rush it a little bit just because the men's game is coming up in about 15 minutes. First, the final statistics. See, the free throw shooting is certainly something UMass Boston would look to work on. They did get it up to 50% in the final stats, as UMass Boston ended up shooting, 7 of 11 in the second half after just 2 of 9 in the first half. But all the other stats, the Beacons did a great job defensively for a second game in a row, winning the rebounding battle and pretty much winning every single battle.
Well, I mean, that's exactly what I was going to point on. I mean, it was even at halftime with rebounds. Everything else was really even. But the thing that pulled the Beacons, helped the Beacons win today, obviously, was the rebounds, and they improved in the second half with that.
And you look at the final stats, the Beacons were outscored in every single quarter but the fourth. They made up all that ground in the fourth quarter, 28-15 overall. Take a look right now at the final team statistics. A couple double-doubles for the Beacons, 18 from Raymond Kelsey with 12 rebounds. Katrina Edward had 13 and 10. Grace Geary had 16. Huge games from a couple of Beacons. On the other side, Caitlin Labonte, the only player who came up big for Western Connecticut State.
Yeah, and I mean, in the fourth quarter and the third quarter, Raven Kelsey, 18 points, had 0 points after the first half. Grace Geary, obviously, being the player that she is, knocked down that huge three-pointer at the end of the game. And Kelsey grabbing 12 rebounds, really dominating in the paint.
We've got to look right now at the conference scoreboard, trying to update the conference standings before we close out here. UMass Boston moves to 4-3, at worst in fourth place. UMass Dartmouth beating Keene State, so Keene State now at 5-2. UMass Dartmouth moves up to 5-2. A tie for second place is Eastern Connecticut State, 6-1 after their big win over Southern Maine. Southern Maine falls to 1-6. Eastern 6-1, and Plymouth State all over Rhode Island College. Their second conference win of the year. They're 2-5. Rhode Island College is 2-5 as well. So the Beacons sit in fourth place, a game ahead of Western Connecticut State, 2 games ahead of Rhode Island College and Plymouth State. Not too bad. Top 4 teams get to host in the quarterfinals. The Beacons a step closer towards potentially hosting. Right now, we'd like to take a moment to give a shout out to our production crew, doing a great job in this one. My name is Seth Dorensky, joined by Steve Witkowski on air, Alex Carasoto and Anthony Searles, your directors, Pepper Baker on instant replay, Carly Robinson, Brian Kaufman, Sal Frashino, and Lauren Mitziaris, your camera operators. That'll do it for game 1 of our doubleheader. We'll be back in about 4 minutes for game number 2. UMass Boston earns a 66-59 win to earn the split of this Little East Conference series against Western Connecticut State this regular season. For game 2 of our Little East Conference doubleheader, the women's provided a very fun finish. The Beacons women's team earning a 66-59 game. This game might be a little bit higher scoring. You bring in the number 1 scoring team in the conference, Western Connecticut State, averaging over 80 points a game. UMass Boston, they're not too shabby in their own right. They earned a 93-90 win at Western Connecticut State the first time around. My name is Seth Orensky, joined by Steve Witkowski. And Steve, we'll take a look right now at the team statistics. Western's offensive numbers are very fun to watch, but their defense has struggled. 85.3 points a game. The Beacons, both of their numbers a little bit lower. What does UMass Boston need to do in this game to sort of assert their kind of pace and really make sure this is Beacons basketball rather than playing a Colonials type of game?
I mean, when they play their best basketball, they really run the ball through Sam Freeman and really trust him to kind of orchestrate the offense for them and not really slow the game down or quicken it up if that's what they want to do. And obviously, the first game that they played, Western Connecticut, Sam Freeman, career high 30 points. So I'm sure they're looking to have the same type of game today and really orchestrate their offense through Sam Freeman.
Freeman comes in as the Beacons' leading scorer at over 17 points per game, 6th best in the conference. On the other side, Bobby Bynum having a huge comeback season. The junior who missed a year and a half due to what we presume was an injury, missed the second half of his sophomore season and all of last year out of New Haven, Connecticut. He's 4th in the conference at 18.5 points per game, also 3rd in the conference with 4.2 assists per game. It's no surprise that Western has 3 players in the top 10 in the conference in scoring. On the other side for the Beacons, a couple of key players, Dan Powers, Sam Freeman, Ty Lee, all 3 of whom had big games the first time around against Western Connecticut State.
And, I mean, his name's not on there. Alex Sanchez, very clutch 4 points, the last 4 points to lead the Beacons team to a win. Obviously, it's going to be an exciting one here at Clark Athletic Center.
First game down at Feldman Gymnasium, it was UMass Boston building a 20-plus point lead. Western Connecticut State came all the way back, led in the final 15 seconds. Sanchez, a go-ahead layup, and then after a Bobby Bynum miss, Sanchez got the ball into his hands, hit a pair of free throws, and the Beacons won 93-90 in both teams' conference openers. Right now, we'll take a look at our player to watch. That's Dan Powers, the senior out of Beverly, Mass. Westwood, Mass, has been phenomenal this season. Powers has been especially good as of late. A 24-point, 20-rebound double-double against Southern Maine on Wednesday in a tight loss in which Southern Maine scored the final 4 points. But for a guy who's come off the bench or started and has played a tough role as the Beacons' power forward, an undersized power forward, to be putting up numbers like that just shows the heart of this young man who started his collegiate career at Endicott College.
And there's a lot of plays on sometimes that actually don't make the stat sheet. He's a very good hustle player, a very good defensive player, and definitely a leader on this Beacons team.
Powers, we believe, is in the starting lineup, and we're actually going to take a look at the UMass Boston starting lineup right now. Iser Barnes, Alex Sanchez, Dan Powers back in the starting lineup again today. Sam Freeman and Kareem Kirksey, a veteran group for UMass Boston. 3 seniors, 1 junior, and 1 freshman. They'll bring a lot of youth off the bench. We'll see Ty Lee. We'll also see Dason Sinelli along with Neil Cesar, one of the Beacons' other seniors. On the other side for Western Connecticut State, Jason Harlow, the first-year interim head coach, had to replace an entire starting 5 essentially. They lost their top 4 scorers, 3 of them starters. Bynum's been a huge addition. They'll also go with Elias Rodriguez, Aaron Samuel, Trayvon Perry, and Rashard Rodriguez. Perry's the big man to watch on this side, the senior out of Waterbury, Connecticut. Tops on the team with his 7.2 rebounds and 1.6 blocks per game. He's also 4th with 11.2 points per game. While we've got a moment, let's talk about Jason Harlow, the Western Connecticut State head coach. Steve, this is a little bit before your time, but Harlow's taking over for one of the most famous coaches in Little East Conference history. Western Connecticut State for years was coached by Bob Campbell. In fact, 32 years. He went 598 and 278, 7 NCAA tournament trips, 5 LEC titles. In September, he announced he was retiring as of Halloween. For Harlow to be 10-5 in his first year as head coach at his alma mater, that's an extremely impressive start.
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough position to be put in, obviously. But obviously, with such a good offense that they've really had, he's had no real troubles so far. So obviously it's exciting. And Jason Harris to the other side is a great addition for the Beacons in the last 2 years.
You mentioned Jason Harris, the Beacons' second-year head coach. This is only the second time that UMass Boston and Western Connecticut State have met between the two programs where it hasn't involved either Campbell or longtime UMass Boston head coach Charlie Titus. Harris has the Beacons at 10-6 this year, 3-3 in conference, a game ahead of Western Connecticut State. And while the Beacons struggled last year, to be over 500 after winning just one game in the second half shows that this program is certainly going in the right direction.
Well, yeah, I mean, everyone knew it was going in the right direction when Coach Harris really stepped on. Such a great coach and such an influential coach. But with 4 wins last year, it was talked about that they were kind of in the process of rebuilding, and it's going to take a little time. But they came out this year and just really went on a run and obviously have really asserted themselves as a competitor in the Little East.
The Beacons looking to sweep Western Connecticut State for the first time since the 2012-2013 season. So you see that stat right there. Great work from our director, Alex Carasoto, on point for Game 2 of this doubleheader. Right now we'll take a commercial break, and then we'll be back with the keys to the game as UMass Boston and Western Connecticut State about to get underway in Game 2 of our Little East Conference doubleheader.
Come on, Jake.
As usual, she wins it. A chance in front. Her shot is in the net. Crystal Layden, yet another goal.
Please make a gift to the Beacon Athletic Fund today. We want you on our team.
While we've got a second, we'll take a look at the all-time series between these two teams. Western Connecticut State does hold the lead at 37-15. UMass Boston looking for their second home win in 3 seasons against Western Connecticut State. They've lost 6 of the past 8, but that one win came in Charlie Titus's last game here at home. UMass Boston looking to keep this series a little bit more even. Western Connecticut State has had the better end of things recently. They've won 6 of 8 and 16 of 19 before the win back in December. Right now, we'll take a look at the keys to the game. Steve, what jumps off the page to you?
I mean, obviously, it's just, we talked about it earlier, Freeman has to be a big part of their offense so they can really dictate the pace of this game. I think those go really hand in hand. And you need more secondary scoring, obviously, with Alex Sanchez, Ty Lee. We talked about Powers. And a couple other players like Kirksey and other players off the bench for the Beacons really need to step up against a great offense for Western Connecticut State.
UMass Boston, the home whites with the blue numbers and white trim. Western in the rust orange road unis with the white trim around the numbers. Not the easiest to read, but certainly made the stroke effect bold enough to make it a little bit easier. UMass Boston going from left to right, working against the man-to-man. It's Sanchez with it, the freshman guard out of Salem, finds Freeman on the block, working down low, and the easy hook shot, an early 2-0 lead. So UMass Boston immediately goes into the paint for their leading scorer, senior center out of Boston, Massachusetts. On the other side, it's Aaron Samuel. Not the Aaron Samuel of Mean Girls. I had to make at least one reference. Get it out of the way early. Trayvon Perry dishes it back out top for Elias Rodriguez.
I'm glad you cleared that one up. Thank you.
Elias Rodriguez over Kirksey. Really nice job closing him out, and Freeman has 2 points and a rebound early. 50 seconds in. Sanchez all the way to the tin, a bit too strong. Rebound into the long reach of Rashard Rodriguez, 6'5", 190. Rodriguez all the way. We've got a charge. Good work from Iser Barnes giving up the body.
I mean, quick game so far. Obviously, Alex Sanchez taking to the hole. Great open lay-in. Just can't connect with it, and Western Connecticut runs it back.
This Western Connecticut State team had to deal with the loss of Kevin Love, another great name that's not associated with the more famous player. as Love was averaging 9.2 points and 6 rebounds first semester, not back with the team for second semester. Freeman a little bit short on the 6-foot look, and there was a bit of contact between Powers and Bobby Bynum, no call. Ball dished out to the free throw line, and a sweet stroke from Trayvon Perry to tie this game at 2-2. Powers up top, Freeman down low, gets behind the defense. Elias Rodriguez going for the steal. He's got 4 in the Beacons lead, 4-2, minute and 40 in.
And you can see why Sam Freeman really dominated that last game against Western Connecticut State. Not a lot of height or physicality on this team.
It's interesting that Elias Rodriguez is drawing the job of handling Freeman. He's only 6'2", 220, pass down low for the bigger Rashard Rodriguez, unable to finish at 6'5", 190. Sanchez the strip. They're going to call the foul from behind on Sanchez on the strip. But you see 6'5", 190, 6'2", 220. Neither are a great matchup for Freeman, who stands at 6'5", or 6'4", 215, has the size advantage on one and the weight advantage on the other.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes as a coach, you just try to really switch it up. Obviously, if he's a more physical player, especially after Sam Freeman torched them last game.
Long rebound comes up to Powers off the missed 3 from Rashard Rodriguez, sophomore out of Trumbull, Connecticut. Averaging 15 points per game, good for 3rd on the team, 10th in the conference. Freeman calling for it, being guarded by Elias. Down low, Kirksey all the way through off the glass, and it's a 6-2 Beacons lead.
Kirksey, a huge transfer for the Beacons this year, really giving them some leadership from an upperclassman.
Senior transfer from MCLA, came along with his former head coach, Jamie Morrison, the longtime head coach at MCLA. Took a job as an academic advisor at UMass Boston, helping out as an assistant coach. Trayvon Perry knocks down his second jump shot, and the lead is 6-4 for UMass Boston, 3 minutes in. Sanchez, the hesitation dribble, wide open, Powers up top, drains it. The Beacons hot from the field to start, 9-4 here, 3 minutes in.
And he's one player that you really want to see connect from three-point, because once he gets one, he gets more.
Dan Powers, 3rd in the conference, shooting over 40% from distance. Elias Rodriguez tries to answer, bit off the mark, and Freeman another rebound. Sanchez sees a lane, looking to go all the way, lost it on his hip, able to retain possession, finds Powers working on the block against 2 players. Huge block from behind. Believe that one was Bynum. It's actually Bynum throwing it off of Barnes. It was the other number 3 out there, Rashard Rodriguez, swatting away Dan Powers. 26 on the shot clock, 16:30 to play in the first half. We'll get our first media timeout at the first whistle after 16 minutes. Bynum, who's been quiet. Another jump shot from Western. Off the glass, no good from Aaron Samuel, his first look of the day. Sanchez ahead for Barnes, has Freeman down low, skips it to the near side. Kirksey, like a wide receiver, makes the catch but throws it into the backcourt. The Beacons almost turned it over once on that possession. Instead, it's the second pass that leads to the change in possession.
And the Beacons coming off one of their worst losses of the year. It'll be interesting to see how they really bounce back. Obviously, pushing the pace early.
Yeah, the Beacons lost to a Southern Maine team that was 0-5 in conference previously. UMass Boston shooting about 54% from the free throw line, a big reason why they lost the game by 4, 82-78. On the other side, Western played Eastern Connecticut State extremely tight in the first half. They were even after 20 minutes, but gave up a 9-0 run and a 10-0 run in a home loss to the first-place Warriors. From the near side, it's Trayvon Perry with his 3rd basket, 9-6. Perry has all 6 for Western. Sanchez drives hard, can't finish, draws the foul, and will head to the line for 2.
And you can see that Alex Sanchez is getting a little more comfortable playing collegiate basketball. Obviously, his first couple games, you really didn't see him taking to the rack like that with an initiative.
First foul on Bobby Bynum, second on Western Connecticut State. We'll take a commercial break with the team for this media timeout.
UMass Boston is my first choice because of the incredible theater department.
Because it has an excellent honors college.
Because here I get to interact with professors one-on-one.
Because I'm not going to be crazy in debt when I graduate.
Because at UMass Boston, I've met professors who have changed my life.
My first choice.
My first choice.
My first choice.
My first choice.
Make the University of Massachusetts Boston your first choice. Visit umb.edu/first choice.
Two teams are still in their huddles. Steve, while we have a moment, just 4 minutes and 20 seconds into the men's game, let's recap the women's game. An exciting one. Very slow start for both sides, but UMass Boston picking up in the fourth quarter to earn the big win.
Yeah, obviously a huge game on both sides in Little East Conference, and UMass Boston prevailed with good free throw shooting and a huge three from Grace Geary.
This is the third of 4 conference games going on today for UMass Boston teams. The women's hockey team fell 5-1. The women's basketball team winning by 7. Men's hockey team set to start at 4 p.m. as Sanchez hits the first. The Beacons, the number 1 free throw shooting team in the conference. That's part of the reason why that poor free throw shooting performance at Southern Maine was such a downer, shooting 73.3%. They're third in the conference in terms of made free throws at 255 as Sanchez hits both, and the Beacons lead is back to 5 at 11-6. Into the game for the first time for Western Connecticut State. Actually, that's Samuel staying in. Trayvon Perry is red hot.
Red hot, the only offense for the Colonials so far. I mean, we talked about Bynum and the other shooters for this team, and he's really carrying this offense right now.
Perry's 4 for 4. The rest of the Colonials 0 for 4. Sanchez drives baseline over the much taller Rashard Rodriguez. Alter the shot enough to make him throw that one up short. Bobby Bynum, the leading scorer in this game, 18.5 points per game, has been silent thus far. Gives it up for Elias Rodriguez. Driving on the smaller Sanchez, tipped away by Freeman. Samuel thought about it. Will pass up the shot with 15 on the shot clock. Over to Perry. Up top for Rashard Rodriguez. Blocked by Powers. Tipped out of bounds. Nope. It's going to be saved by Barnes. And now the referee is going to call a late whistle and say that Barnes was out of bounds. He blew that whistle 2 seconds after Barnes had evacuated the baseline. Referees for this game, Paul Holleran, Sean Roberts, and Chris Bennett. Western Connecticut State will send Elias and Rashard Rodriguez to the bench. Checking in for the first time, Marcus Brown, the junior guard out of New Haven, Connecticut, who's on the ball right here. Out there with Bynum, and the new substitute, Josh Green, the sophomore forward out of Hartford, Connecticut, who was an all-rookie team member a year ago, 6'4", 188, another big body. Good baseline drive and one opportunity for Aaron Samuel. The first on Dan Powers, second on the Beacons, and Western has a chance to make this a 5-0 run in a tie ball game. Samuel out of Stratford, Connecticut on the season. 75.6% free throw shooter. Easily hits the first for UMass Boston. Sanchez to the bench. Dason Sinelli, one of their freshmen who's played in every game this season. Guard out of Boston, Massachusetts. Averaging 3.1 points, 2.7 rebounds. Powers has a lane, kicks it out for Sinelli. Back up top. Barnes thought about the three. Ball fake over for Powers, looking for another one. Way off the mark. Might have been tipped. Freeman gets the pass. Can't finish. Rebound tapped out to a sea of Beacons. Barnes is blocked. 2 on the possession. Thrown ahead for Green. Green with Sinelli coming back. Doesn't give the foul. Western has their first lead at 13-11.
And that's something with the Beacons, that when they really try to drive the paint, it's sometimes tough just because their height difference.
Couple of big swats for Western early on. They have at least 3 or 4 of them. Got a foul on the floor. Not sure who's going to get called for this one. It will be Trayvon Perry picking up his first, team's third. Kareem Kirksey will head to the bench with Sanchez coming back. Haven't seen Ty Lee yet, which is interesting. He's been in the starting lineup for the most part. We're already 6 minutes and 15 seconds in. Freeman has 4. Gets the touch, takes the long 2. Front rim, no good. He's been short on back-to-back. Green the rebound, and he's a one-man fast break. Finally forced to pull it up as Freeman got back, the only real shot blocker on the Beacons. Samuel, a contested 2. Rattles that one home off the bank, and he's got 5 in a row. It's an 8-0 run, and Western leads by 4, 15-11. Sanchez all the way to the tin, off glass. This game is being played at an exhilarating pace. Marcus Brown will slow it down at least for a moment. Waiting to check into the scorer's table, it's Dimitrios Sesmetskis. the football player, about to appear in his second game at Western Connecticut State. The Beacons get a rare block. Barnes trying to go all the way, has it stripped from behind by Brown. All out ahead of the pack is Joust Green. He doesn't finish as Sanchez got back. Second foul on Alex Sanchez. So he avoids giving up the easy two, but that'll probably send him to the bench for at least the next 5 or 6 minutes.
And the Beacons are trying to run the pace just like Western Connecticut, and a couple turnovers resulting from that.
2 free throws upcoming for Joust Green. 6'4", 188, averaging 15.2 points, second on the team, 9th in the conference, along with 6.5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, and leading the conference with 2.8 steals per game. This is a guy that does everything for this team. Trayvon Perry will head to the bench. Steve, I love this story. Demetrio Sesmetskis, sophomore center out of Hopewell Junction, New York, tight end on the football team, caught 2 touchdowns this year on 6 catches, and now he's playing in his second game on the basketball team. 6'6", 240. This team has some real size, maybe not Eastern Connecticut State size, but a lot more than the Beacons do, as Barnes will take a 3, drains it, back to a 16-all game.
Yeah, well, sometimes, I mean, athletes can play, like they say, and you talked about Western Connecticut State losing a couple players that are vital to their team. Maybe he could step up and get him a couple points.
Sesmetskis unable to knock it down from the elbow. Sinelli looking to drive all the way into a player, and they're going to call the foul on Western Connecticut State. That could have been an offensive foul, a travel, or a defensive foul, depending on what the referees saw. It'll be Aaron Samuel picking up his first, 4th on Western Connecticut State. 17 fouls to get to the 1-and-1, 10 to get to the double bonus. Samuel heads to the bench. Right now for Western, it's Bynum, Sesmetskis, Green, joined out there by Brown, and the player just into the game is Rashard Rodriguez once again. Kirksey will spot up from the wing, in and out, powers the long rebound, working against Joust Green, finds Kirksey fighting, down low, spins, can't finish, and it's Sinelli who's fouled on his attempted tap-in. That is one of the best missed layups you will ever see. So we're going to get him.
Brings athleticism to this team, and, I mean, that was just a great, obviously, missed layup.
We're going to get a media timeout, as that's the second foul on Rashard Rodriguez, first player for either side with multiple fouls. And we'll take a look at that spin move and the eventual foul against Western after this commercial break.
Paris changed my life, and I got there through UMass. Those very specific seminal moments in Paris, the subway. A man in a tuxedo walked in, and a woman in a long gown. And it was stunning. It all hit me. It was like a lightning bolt. There was this world of beauty and style that I wanted to be a part of. That was the beginning of the journey. And that all came through the University of Massachusetts. And that was really a key moment for me. That's one of the things I forget.
Take a look at that missed layup. First off, great job by Dan Powers to find Kirksey. Then the spin move around the defender. Sesmetskis gets over, and Sinelli, you can see the easy foul on Rashard Rodriguez. So many good things there if you're Jason Harris in terms of unselfish basketball.
Yeah, a lot of unselfish basketball, and that's what this team preaches. I mean, they say I over me, and, I mean, team over me. That's on me. Been a long day here, but the very unselfish team, and I think that's why they are where they are today.
My name is Seth Dorensky, joined by Steve Witkowski here on the broadcast. You'll see Dason Sinelli head to the line for a pair of free throws. Sinelli on the season, 10 for 17 from the free throw line. He's seen more minutes over the past couple games. Double-digit minutes in the last 5, had 7 points against Southern Maine. Knocks down the first. Sinelli sporting the colored tips coming out of first semester.
Definitely
knocks down
solid.
both.
Definitely good hair for Sinelli.
Certainly better hair than either of us have. It's Brown bringing it into the front court. It's 18-16 in favor of UMass Boston in what's been a fast-paced first half thus far. Western has not scored less than 77 points in a game. They've gone over 100 once, over 94 times. A deep three from Marcus Brown, and that leads to a long rebound. Kirksey, though, can't handle it. Freeman dives to the floor. It'll be a tie-up. It'll go back to Western. That could have been a 4-on-1 the other way, but Sam Freeman averts disaster in an easy 2 by diving onto the floor and causing the jump ball.
And someone that's been quiet today has been Sam Freeman. Obviously, only 4 points today out of the Beacons' 18 points.
Hit his first shot. He's just 1 for 4 since. Says Metzges will head to the bench. Back out there right now is Trayvon Perry, who has 8 points for Western. Jouch Green will go over to Bobby Bynum. Still hasn't looked for his shot. Perry up top for Brown. For Green, down low. Perfect passing and the easy finish from Trayvon Perry, who's already in the double digits, 10 of the first 16 for Western Connecticut State.
Great ball movement right there for Western Connecticut State. I mean, top three scorers in the conference. You can see they share the ball very well.
18-18, 10:56 to go in the first half. Bobby Bynum has been scoreless, but the rest of his team is putting up points in bunches. Neil Cesar just into the game. The senior out of Randolph goes down low for Kirksey. Tried the hesitation layup, was blocked. Rashard Rodriguez into the front court. Jouch Green unable to hit from 5 feet, in and out. Wasted possession there for the Colonials. You can see why this team is so much fun to watch. So much agility, so much athleticism. But they haven't been able to finish against the top teams in the conference. 1-3 over their past 4. All 3 losses coming to the top teams: Keene State, UMass Dartmouth, and Eastern Connecticut State. Cesar finds Kirksey this time, able to give the Beacons the lead back at 20-18. Green leaves it off for Brown. The Beacons calling out instructions. Another deep 3 from Brown. Another in and out. And Freeman throws it out of bounds. The Beacons hoping it was tipped, and it was. So it'll be UMass Boston ball with 10 minutes exactly remaining in the first half. Powers back in for Sinelli.
A couple very deep threes so far for Western Connecticut State. I understand they score 90 points a game, but there's no need to shoot near the U of UMass.
Yeah, Marcus Brown's first attempt was easily 4 feet behind the three-point line, if not further. Freeman wants the ball, working against Perry, catches it immediately, double team across wide open. Cesar from the wing, too strong, long rebound in the hands of Green. Only 2 Beacons back, Cesar and Barnes, and the foul is going to come against Green. Iser Barnes, the second time this game he's drawn a charge against the Colonials.
Very good player for UMass. I mean, very versatile player, and definitely can create his own shot and is very smart on the basketball court.
Like to take a look at that one again if we have it right now as they try to mop up a little bit. We'll take a look at it actually at the next whistle. Green going so hard to the hoop. Already 6 fouls against Western Connecticut State versus just 3 for the Beacons. First on Green, but that's the second or third on the offensive end against the Colonials.
And you talked about it before, how UMass really struggled at the free throw line the last couple of games. It'd be interesting to see how they fare today.
Trayvon Perry steals away the entry pass intended for Freeman, and Brown will set up. Came off the bench, but has been manning the point with Bobby Bynum very quiet. Bynum, third in the conference in assists per game, but he's playing off the ball right now. Perry looking for points 11 and 12. Can't get it, and Barnes able to tap the rebound over to Freeman. Barnes, Cesar, Kirksey, Freeman, and Powers, a very veteran group. 4 seniors and 1 junior. Powers all the way with the left hand and 1. And UMass Boston's lead is 22-18 with 8:52 to play.
Huge basket right there for Dan Powers. Great finish to put him at the line for an and 1.
Couple substitutes for both teams. Eastern will bring out Elias Rodriguez and Evan Curtin, the freshman guard out of Portland, Connecticut. Sinelli's back in there for Barnes. 8:52, so first stoppage under 8 minutes will lead to the media timeout. The Beacons trying to get Barnes and Sanchez a rest. Powers misses the free throw to keep it a 4-point game. Bobby Bynum still scoreless. Bit of a story right now. He'll dish it across. Wide open Samuel looking inside for Curtin. Aggressive move there and able to finish. Great movement on the ball, and Evan Curtin able to find the soft spot in the Beacons D.
A great movement and a nice touch at the end to really lay that in for 2.
Curtin averages just 4.1 points on 9 minutes a game, making his 13th appearance. Freeman tied up by Perry. I think we're going to have matching fouls there. Freeman can't believe it. Perry's not too happy either. It's the second time today we've seen the referees call that. Typically doesn't happen too frequently, but can't argue either way. That's a team foul on both sides. It's the 8th on Western Connecticut State, but because it was matching, they won't give the Beacons the 1 and 1. Still takes them one step closer to the double bonus. First on Freeman, second on Perry. Freeman unable to finish. Powers is going to be called for the loose ball foul. Otherwise, it would have been an N1. That's the second on Dan Powers, just the fourth on the Beacons. 2 fouls on Alex Sanchez, 2 fouls on Dan Powers.
And talking to Coach Harris before the season, he really emphasized how much of a great player Dan Powers really is, but how much he could really get into foul trouble as well.
Says Metskis is back out on the floor for Perry with those 3 fouls. Brown also takes a seat. 3-on-1 chance. Sinelli all the way to the tin and one opportunity. Bobby Bynum gave a bit of contact underneath, and the Beacons have a chance to stretch this lead out to 5. 24-20. 9 team fouls on Western Connecticut State with 8:04 to play, as Brown will check right back in for Bynum, who just picked up his second.
And the Beacons shooting 4 of 5 from the free throw line. I'm sure Coach Harris really practiced that after the loss on Wednesday.
Yeah, Coach Jason Harris doesn't seem to have any issues with running his guys hard in practice, even the day before a game. So with Thursday and Friday to practice stuff, I'm sure that the Beacons really were working hard from the free throw line in addition to a couple of other things. The lead is 5, 7:50 to go. Next whistle will lead to immediate timeout. Brown, the jump fake, got Barnes up in the air, misses the long 2. Freeman another rebound, finds Cesar with Sinelli right there. Cesar needs help, over to Barnes. Barnes whips it to the near side. Cesar back out top to Iser Barnes. Around a Freeman screen, wide open. Cesar can't make the catch initially, able to keep it inbounds. Freeman with 10 on the shot clock, working on Sesmetskis. Freeman needs help, he'll look to go to work. Driving along the block there, able to get the turnaround over Sesmetskis. Stretches the lead to 27-20, the largest lead it's been for UMass Boston.
And Sam Freeman over the last couple of years has really developed his moves in the paint and really asserted himself as one of the best paint guys.
Rodriguez out to Samuel from the wing, no good. Sinelli fights through Elias Rodriguez. It'll be out of bounds off of Sinelli. Beacons were looking for a foul on Elias Rodriguez reaching in there. We're going to get an immediate timeout. Steve, just one more point I want to make before we head to break. How tough is that for Demetrius Sesmetskis? He hasn't played basketball as much, didn't play at all as a freshman, probably joined the team over winter break. To have to guard Sam Freeman, one of, if not the best bigs, with the exception of Hugh Lindo in the conference, it's not an easy cover with all those moves.
Yeah, that's not a lot of time to learn, and obviously he's trying to do his best out there, but Sam Freeman really taking it to him right now.
6:59 to go in the first half. We'll take a commercial break. The Beacons lead by 7 here on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
The University of Massachusetts Boston. It's just minutes from downtown, and the Princeton Review calls it one of the best values in the country. A nationally recognized institution of academic excellence and research, UMass Boston offers more than 150 undergraduate and graduate programs, 16 Division III sports, and more than 100 student organizations. To learn more about the opportunities waiting for you at UMass Boston, visit in person or online. UMass Boston, a research university with a teaching soul.
(27-20) with 6:59 to go. 6 points from Sam Freeman to lead all UMass Boston players. Trayvon Perry has 10. He's 5 of 7 from the field. Both teams shooting over 40%. Right now the difference is the turnovers. UMass Boston has 6. Western has only been charged with 3. Seems like it should be a bit higher. UMass Boston in a 2-3 zone coming out of the break. Ball thrown into the backcourt. Aaron Samuel almost headed back to his own bench to catch that one. Barnes and Cesar up top. Down low, it's Freeman in the middle with Kirksey to his left and Sinelli to the right. Kicked out. Samuel will take the 3 after a bit of hesitation. This one rattles home. Western Connecticut State knocking down their first 3 of the game, 1 for 7.
1 for 7, and Brown 0 for 3 from the field today. Really good score, just missing.
Barnes throws it behind Kirksey, able to keep it alive. Kirksey looking to dribble on Curtin, gets all the way. Lots of contact from Sesmetskis. Might be allowed in football, not in basketball, and that's the 10th on Western. 2 free throws upcoming for Kareem Kirksey.
Yeah, that's a tough thing for Sesmetskis. Obviously, coming in, trying to play your best, trying to play the best defense possible, but not playing basketball for a couple years, you're apt to foul.
especially at 6'6", 240. You're going to be, anytime you give contact, it's going to look a little bit more egregious than maybe it would against if you're a little bit smaller, as Kirksey misses the first. Sanchez waiting to check in for him, and will do so here after Kirksey went 1 of 2. Instead, it'll actually be Cesar checking out. Beacon's going to go on some full court pressure here. Freeman had 2 back. It'll be Sinelli and Sanchez putting pressure on the ball, with Barnes trying to help out just behind. Curtin with the closest player to him, Jason Harris. And Curtin will take the 3, knocks it down. Evan Curtin has 5 points in the early going.
And that's something the Beacons really preached at the beginning of the season, is defense to offense. And obviously trying to create something there with a full court press.
Barnes over a pair of taller players, says Metzger sends it back from whence it came. Curtin unable to make the catch. It's out of bounds, as both teams maybe trying to do a bit too much there. UMass Boston with a 2-point lead, 5:56 to go in the half. Sanchez, Sinelli, Kirksey, Freeman, and Barnes for the Beacons. On the other side, Brown commits the foul. That'll be 2 free throws for Sanchez. Brown not too happy about that one. It's out there with Sesmetskis, Curtin, Elias Rodriguez, and Aaron Samuel. Steve, 2 interesting storylines at this point. No Ty Lee thus far, who is in uniform for UMass Boston. And Bobby Bynum, the top scorer in this game, 3rd in the conference, 0 points thus far for Western. 2 guys we expected to see a lot out of have not contributed, and yet both teams have done pretty well offensively.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I mean, we looked at the stats leaders, and obviously Ty Lee was in there for assists and other things, but haven't seen him so far. Alex Sanchez really holding it down. Obviously a very well-conditioned guard that they have on the floor.
Sanchez 2 for 2. Lee and Bynum, 2 of the top 3 point guards in the conference when it comes to assists per game. It's controlled by Brown up top, working against the 2-3 zone. The Beacons normally a man-to-man team, trying to switch it up here. Ball thrown all the way through out to Brown, looking for a deep triple. A little bit short, the rebound right into the hands of Samuel, able to knock it down with a left-hand lay-in. It's a disappointment there if you're UMass Boston. You force the deep 3, but the rebound just falling right into the hands of a Colonial. As Sanchez senses the space, says Metzger the block. Good work getting back there by Dimitrios.
And we talked about 3-point field goals. I mean, being such a high-scoring team, you would think that they really rely on their 3-pointers, but only 2 for both teams today.
Barnes feeding Freeman on the block. Dimitrios says Metzger forces the pass, and it's out of bounds off Brown on the intended pass for Sinelli. 8 on the shot clock, 4:53 to go in the half. Sinelli will inbound from below the basket on the far side. Sinelli looking for Freeman and finds him with 6. All the way across for Sanchez. Not a big-time 3-point shooter. Has 3. Will take the long 2. Over, says Metzger. Catches the rim, but off the mark. Samuel with the rebound. Brown pushing the pace. Finds Curtin. Has the hot hand right now with 5. Dribbles it over to Rodriguez. Curtin looking for another open 3. Front rim, no good. Sinelli skies for the rebound. UMass Boston looking to push the pace. Sanchez with Brown back, and we're going to get a travel as Brown avoided the contact this time.
And Sinelli, not the biggest player on the court, but a lot of hops coming out of those shoes.
Dason's listed at 6'1", 165. I think he's probably got the biggest jumping ability, with maybe the exception of Barnes. Both guys can really sky against bigs for rebounds. This time it's Freeman able to pull down the rebound. Who else? It's Sanchez going all the way with the left hand. So difficult to stop him in transition, especially when he goes into that highest speed and just races past players.
Exactly. I mean, that's a great part of his game that he could really bring to the table for the Beacons. You really can't stop that unless you're going to foul him.
32-28. Brown looking for a triple. Misses again. Rebound loose for Sesmetskis. The bunny off the glass. 32-30. Brown's now 0 for 4, 0 for 5 from distance. Shooting with the confidence of a shooter. 3 substitutes waiting to check in for Western. 1 for the Beacons. Kirksey from the corner. 2 strong rebound loose. Kirksey fighting for it. Curtin pulls it down. 3:33 to play. Curtin looking to go all the way, and he's able to finish with a scoop shot to tie this one up at 32. The Beacons will use a timeout. It becomes the media We're all tied at 32 with 3:27 to go in quarter number 1 because we're playing halves.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
(32-32). It hasn't been quite as high scoring as we expected, but still, this game at points has been played at a track meet style pace. My name is Seth Dorensky, joined by Steve Witkowski. Coach Harris especially always talks about the final 5 minutes, or at home, the final 4 minutes, being so key in terms of going into the half with momentum. Your UMass Boston, what are you focusing on? Maybe 1 or 2 keys to take the lead heading into the second half?
Well, I mean, Sam Freeman only has 6 points so far, and obviously that's kind of their standing point. Their pace has been really good. Alex Sanchez kind of orchestrating the pace and really conducting the floor with either slowing it down or quickening it up. So I don't hate the pace, but definitely looking for Sam Freeman down low.
Dan Powers on the bench with his 2 fouls. Sanchez out there with 2. The Beacons have only committed 5 fouls. Freeman unable to make the catch. Jouch Green has it go off of his knee and out of bounds with 17 on the shot clock. 10 team fouls on Western Connecticut State, so the Beacons will shoot free throws the rest of the way. Western needs to draw 2 fouls against the Beacons just to shoot the 1-and-1. Sinelli, Freeman, Kirksey, Cesar, and Sanchez out there. Cesar looking to drive, kicks it out for Sinelli, who just knocks that one down to avoid it going out of bounds. 10 on the shot clock. Sanchez gets a screen from Freeman all the way, blocked out to Kirksey, who has it stripped into the hands of Freeman. They reset the shot clock. There should be time left on the shot clock. The question is just how much, and that's what the referees are going to go over and have a conversation with. They'll put 7 up. Still plenty of time, Steve, to get a good look.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the Beacons offense has a lot of different points they could really attack.
Sinelli finds Kirksey. Kirksey looking to work down over the bigger player. Kirksey doesn't get the benefit of the rim this time. Sinelli, though, knocks the rebound out. 2 players dive on it, and it's thrown into the hands of Sinelli by a diving Rashard Rodriguez. Pass down low for Freeman, swatted by Green off of Curtin and out of bounds. The Beacons struggling to get that entry pass to Freeman with so many big bodies and long bodies for Western in the lineup. Sinelli finds Freeman this time, working on the smaller Perry, who has 2 fouls. Freeman turns, left-hand layup, and Freeman asking for the foul. Thought he got hit in the chin.
Great spin move by Freeman.
34-32, under 2.5 minutes to play in the first half. Bynum back into the game, still scoreless in this one. Rodriguez, Rashard this time, over to Green and finds Bynum. Bynum finding Green, a nice job, spins it out top for Bobby Bynum with 10 on the shot clock. Bynum, the pull-up 2, beautiful looking shot, and he's on the board for the first time today. You can see why he might get 18.5 points per game with a jump shot like that.
Very good release, too, very quick.
Cesar from the corner with the 3-2 strong. Neither team has shot particularly well from distance. And now Bynum is visibly limping after making contact with Sanchez. Another thing to watch is he'll try to stick out there, although Marcus Brown immediately heads to the scorer's table. Green all the way, runs into Freeman, and they're going to rule that a block. Steve, I'd love to see that one again. It looked like Freeman was stopped solidly, wasn't expecting the contact, and the entire bench up in arms over the call as Bynum's going to have to head out due to an injury.
Yeah, we'll see if we can't get that back on replay up in the booth.
They gave the basket to Western Connecticut State. That's tough. We'll take a look at it one more time during this free throw from Green. You see Green miss it. There's going to be a lane violation on UMass Boston, and we'll take a look. See Green going hard. Freeman still moving.
Yeah, his feet were still moving on that one.
Nice finish from Green, and after, I believe it was Barnes stepping in early on the free throw. Green gets a second effort and knocks it down. So a really frustrating possession for UMass Boston, and we'll get a timeout from the Beacons. Jason Harris upset with that previous call. Take a commercial on with the teams. Western leads 37-34 with 96 seconds to go in half number 1.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
With 96 seconds left, the Beacons will send both of their bigs to the bench. Freeman and Powers both with 2 fouls. UMass Boston going small. Sinelli, the nominal center right now. Neil Cesar went to the tin. It looks like he drew contact, was hoping for a foul. Instead, he falls to the ground and loses the ball out of bounds. So Western a chance to extend this lead. They haven't led much in this game. Bobby Bynum right now being attended to by the Western Connecticut State trainer. Looks like she's trying to stretch out his left foot. Green up top. Western has size advantages at almost every position. Perry over the smaller Barnes, able to knock it down. He's had the hot hand with 12 now, and that's an almost impossible cover if you're Iser Barnes.
Yeah, Perry really carrying this offense right now, especially with Bynum's injury. He's really taking the workload.
Barnes for Sanchez and now Sinelli. The Beacons need some points, down by 5 with 50 seconds left. Sanchez tries a 3, too strong, and over the back there is Cesar.
And another thing to mention, Ty Lee still hasn't touched the court today. Still in Jersey, obviously, but Alex Sanchez out there the whole game.
Perry's going to head to the bench with his 2 fouls. Demetrios says Metzges is back in. We'll see Elias Rodriguez head back in if this first free throw is good. Curtin to the line for the 1-and-1. Too strong on the first. It's just the 17th foul against the Beacons. Sinelli looking to push, and he looked for the 2-for-1, draws the blocking foul on Curtin, and that's a great job by Sinelli being aggressive. The Beacons will get another possession, and Sinelli will shoot 2 here.
Yeah, I mean, the Beacons have had 10 free throws today. Obviously, they've hit 8 of 10, 80%, so that's been their strong point today on the offense.
First foul on Evan Curtin. Western has given up the double bonus for a while now. Elias Rodriguez is going to check in for Rashard Rodriguez, who has 2 fouls of his own. Sinelli misses the first long. Trying to cut this deficit down to 4. 39-34, Western make it 39-35. 38.3 ticks left on the clock. The Beacons should get it back. Full court pressure here, maybe trying to speed up Western. Curtin with Cesar on him. Freshman guard will try to get it across, and Barnes taps it out of bounds. He tried to get that one off of Josh Green, and Barnes is just standing on the sideline there in disbelief. Green gets it in for Brown, who's been cold from distance. Marcus 0 for 5 from the field, 0 for 4 from three-point land. Brown picks up the dribble, able to get it over for Green. This is a major mismatch against Sanchez. Pulls up for 2, no good. Rebound tipped over by Kirksey to Curtin, who can't finish. He'll head to the line for 2. Not sure which Beacon committed that foul with 14.8 ticks left. Barnes picks up his first, and with Powers and Freeman on the bench, Steve, rebounding becomes a huge issue for UMass Boston.
Yeah, I mean, the rebounding today, the total rebounding is 24-16 favor of Beacons, which has really helped them a lot on the points. But obviously with Freeman and Powers on the bench, just because of fouls.
Curtin hits both. It's a 6-point game with 10 seconds left in the half. Sanchez starts to move. 6 seconds. Hard screen from Cesar. Off the glass. Sanchez with a sky hook almost. Able to knock it down and cuts the deficit to 41-37. Jason Harris still having words with the referee. Maybe he was looking for a foul there, but UMass Boston able to get it a little bit closer. Steve, what's your biggest takeaway after the first half?
I mean, Bynum obviously has been unheard of so far this game, which is obviously, I mean, they're still on pace to really break 80 points, but that's hurt Western Connecticut State.
We'll take a commercial break, and then we'll head down low with an interview with Jason Harris in just a moment.
What do we mean when we say UMass is here for a reason? We mean that the 5-campus UMass system is the only public research university that the people of Massachusetts established to create better futures for themselves, but also for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts as a whole. It's a university that educates 73,000 students every day and graduates 17,000 graduates every year. We are the university that educates the workforce of Massachusetts. We're one of the state's 3 major academic research engines: research that saves and improves people's lives, and research that drives the innovation economy of Massachusetts. We provide services and economic opportunity to every region of the Commonwealth. The noted historian David McCullough once said that 2 great concepts, university and Massachusetts, come together in only one place, and we are very aware of how fortunate we are to bear the name, the University of Massachusetts. We recognize that we are truly here for a reason, and that recognition inspires us and drives us every single day.
Words with the referees right after that final whistle. It's been a very physical game against a bigger team. What were you not happy with, and what do you need to fix in terms of your team's physicality in the second half?
I mean, again, a couple tough whistles, but it's, we just want consistency, but it's not about the officials. It's us being up 6 or 7 and, with 7:21, and then, again, the same things keep creeping back up. We need to continue to be solid when we build that 7-point lead and understand why we're up 7 and not, up 7 is time to let me go get mine a little bit and lose focus.
Bobby Bynum's the 3rd leading scorer in the conference. He's been held scoreless, or just the 2 points. On the other side, Trayvon Perry, their 3rd leading scorer, has been red hot. How do you slow him down? It hurt, obviously, a lot late with no Powers and Freeman.
I'm more upset that, they have a kid who's 9 points a game right now in 9 minutes who is averaging 3 for the game. That's more of what I'm upset. It's us not locating, like a shooter in a zone press. And, Bynum's taking one shot. I guarantee you he ends up with 17 or 18 shots. So I think that's probably more of the reason why he hasn't scored, is because he just hasn't shot the ball.
Thanks so much for your time, Coach. We'll head back up top right now and take a look at some highlights. Then we'll have the rest of our halftime show right here on the Beacons Broadcast Network. Powers up top, Freeman down low, gets behind the defense. Elias Rodriguez conference. Freeman calling for it, being guarded by Elias. Down low, Kirksey all the way through off the glass, and it's a 6-2 Beacons lead. Sanchez, the hesitation dribble, wide open, Powers up top, drains it. The Beacons hot from to the game for the first time for Western Connecticut State. Actually, that's Samuel staying in. Trayvon Perry is red hot. 5 in a row. It's an 8-0 run, and Western leads by 4, 15-11. Sanchez all the way to the tin, off glass. This game size, maybe not Eastern Connecticut State size, but a lot more than the Beacons do, as Barnes will take a 3, drains it, and back to a 16-all game. Rebound working against Jouch Green. Finds Kirksey fighting, down low, spins, can't finish, and it's Sinelli who's fouled on his attempted of Green. Only 2 Beacons back, Cesar and Barnes, and the foul is going to come against Green. Iser Barnes, the second time this game he's drawn a charge against the Colonials.
Very good.
Kirksey, Freeman, and Powers, a very veteran group. 4 seniors and 1 junior. Powers all the way with the left hand and 1. And you out on the floor for Perry with those 3 fouls. Brown also takes a seat. 3-on-1 chance. Sinelli all the way to the tin and 1 opportunity. Bobby to catch initially, able to keep it inbounds. Freeman with 10 on the shot clock, working on Sesmetskis. Freeman needs help, he'll look to go to work. Driving along the block there, able to get the turnaround to him, Jason Harris. And Curtin will take the 3, knocks it down. Able to pull down the rebound. Who else? It's Sanchez going all the way with the left hand. Sinelli finds Freeman this time, working on the smaller Perry, who has 2 fouls. Freeman turns, left hand layup, and Freeman asking for his table. Green all the way, runs into Freeman, and they're going to rule that up. Green up top. Western has size advantages at almost every position. Perry over the smaller Barnes, able to knock it down. Sanchez starts to move. 6 seconds. Hard screen from Cesar. Off the glass. Sanchez with a...
I'm the first undergraduate alumnus to lead this university. I'm very proud of that. I was literally able to transform my life because of the University of Massachusetts, and I want that for every single student that walks through the door.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
And we are back here at the Clark Athletic Center looking at the halftime stats. Beacon's field goal percentage, 38% to Western Connecticut, 48.6%. The thing that has been keeping the Beacons in reach of Western Connecticut, obviously, is the free throw percentage at 75%, which they have knocked down 9 free throws so far. Dominating the glass, UMass Boston, and Coach Harris talked about it, very unpleased with what has happened today at the Clark Athletic Center. We'll send it back to a commercial break, and we'll have the second half here soon.
Cheer for the stumbles. The he shoulda had that's. And the tears that linger. For in those moments, greatness lies. There, you will find the provoked, the determined, the unified. It's in those moments that champions are born.
And we're going to go around Beaconville right now. Today, big day today. Women's basketball, huge win against Western Connecticut State. Very exciting game. The ending was riveting with big free throws and a huge three-point shot from Grace Geary to seal it for the Beacons. Women's hockey, obviously a tough loss at Norwich University against the number 3 team in the nation. And men's hockey has a huge game at 4 p.m. that should be starting right about now, and around the LEC, Eastern Connecticut State absolutely dominating in men's basketball over Southern Maine. Rhode Island College against Plymouth State. Plymouth State getting the best of them, 44-29. And Keene State College, a tight one with UMass Dartmouth. Again, we'll be back for the second half.
Moving from Turkey, it was a rough journey for me because when you don't really speak the language that well and when you don't really fit in the crowd, it's very easy to disappear. But I decided not to give up, and UMass helped me.
And lastly, for our halftime show, the team leaders, Sanchez with 10 points, Freeman with 8, Perry obviously having the hot hand for the Colonials with 12 for rebounds, Freeman with 8, very dominating the boards, and with assists, there are 2 with 2. Sinelli with 1 steal, and there are 2 Beacons with a block. A very good quarter for the Beacons. They are back on the floor as they look to take this game against the Colonials.
My name's Albie Daly. I'm from Able Park, New York. I'm a forward on the UMass Boston men's hockey team, and my current major is exercise and health sciences. Being a member of the men's hockey team is a tremendous honor, just because being able to play collegiate sport while pursuing my dreams of becoming a physical therapist and studying what I'd like to in school means a lot. My favorite memory as a member of the men's hockey team would probably be a big goal that I scored last year, the NCAA quarterfinals, ECAC East quarterfinals against University of New England.
What a turn in momentum!
Just because it was a big boost for both myself and our team moving forward.
Perfect shot right there over the shoulder of the goaltender Drost.
Frozen Fenway was just our outdoor game at Fenway Park, and it was a tremendous experience, I think, both for me and the guys on the team and, you know, the program as a whole. But we got to see the Red Sox locker room, which was an awesome experience, and just being at Fenway Park when you go to school in Boston is second to none, really, and that's what you look for, you know, when you're trying to experience collegiate athletics, and it's a really cool thing to be a part of. Being a student athlete at UMass Boston is a tremendous honor, just because it gives you the chance to really focus on your studies in a great academic environment while, you know, pursuing what you want athletically. So it's a pretty powerful thing.
I'm Alexa Capion. I'm from Messina, New York. I'm a junior on the women's ice hockey team, and I'm an exercise health science major. But when I got here, I met Coach Harris, and I saw the facility, and I met a couple of the girls on the team, and I pretty much got a feel of the program, and I knew right away that this is where I wanted to go to school. We have all league games for the rest of the year, so that's going to be a huge test for us. We need those points to hopefully come out with a good standing for playoffs. A couple of highlights from the last couple of years that I've been playing was probably last year when we won our first Codfish Bowl. We made history that year. I was really excited to be part of that. I don't have very many goals, but when I do score, it's definitely a big deal.
That's a goal!
For the past 3 years, we've had Emily. She is a member of the Team Impact program, and that's for children with illnesses that want to be part of a collegiate program. She's great. She comes and watches all of our games. She has her own jersey. She has her own stick. We've got her all this equipment. It's really awesome to have. She gives us a lot of motivation, and she comes in the locker room and talks to us before games, and it's really cool to have her here and be part of our team. When I graduate, I definitely want to go to graduate school, most likely for either athletic training or physical therapy. Our trainers here have definitely given me an insight about what it takes to be an athletic trainer. They're always on top of everything. They always know how to help us and what to do and what not to do. They're always there for us when we need them, and that's given me a lot of help with what I could be doing after I graduate, so that's nice to have them.
Welcome back to the Clark Athletic Center Gymnasium. 45 seconds to go before the start of half number 2. 47-41. Western Connecticut State closing out that half on a 21-10 run.
Correction, 37-41. I heard 47-41.
41-37, correct, in favor of Western Connecticut State. Coach Harris certainly was not happy with the way that his team concluded that half. The good news, they get Sam Freeman and Dan Powers back out there with 2 fouls. Sanchez as well. It'll be interesting to see whether or not Ty Lee comes off the bench at any point. Without Ty Lee, the Beacons bench shortens just a little bit. Right now, coming off the bench, they have Sinelli and Neil Cesar. Maurice McGrath is available for the first time this season, added to the roster, but McGrath hasn't joined. And one of the big things that head coach Jason Harris has said all season long is Freeman catches in the post and easily finishes out the pass from Powers. You have to earn the playing time. Just because McGrath was a starter and a big scorer last year doesn't mean he's going to immediately see playing time.
Exactly, and the fact that basketball is such a conditioned sport, you don't know what he was really doing in offseason. I mean, I'm sure he's a great hard worker and stuff like that, but you have to be conditioned right off the bat.
Bynum's back out there after suffering a left foot injury late in the first half. Just 2 points in the first half on 1-for-1 shooting. Long three there, hits the front of the rim. Freeman skies for it, has it tapped out of his hand. Off the missed three from Rashard Rodriguez. Aaron Samuel looking to go to work on Barnes, off the glass too strong. Powers the rebound, and the Beacons have a chance to tie or take the lead.
And it was interesting when you talked to Coach about Bynum and how exactly they really limited him. He just hasn't taken any shots. He said he can see him taking 16 to 17 shots this second half.
Barnes evens the score. Perry gives it right back to Western Connecticut State. Trayvon Perry has a very good jump shot for a big. He's up to 14 points on 7 of 9 shooting. Easily the most of any player. Sanchez nearly lost the handle, able to get it out to Powers. Drive, stripped by Perry, kept alive by Samuel, and Bynum looks to push. Bynum pulls up at the three-point line, dribbles it off the back of Powers. Sanchez picks it up. Sanchez with Perry trailing. Sanchez all the way in with the left hand, unable to finish. Powers has it go off of his hand and out of bounds. That was a nice cat and mouse game between Perry and Sanchez that Trayvon, the senior, won over the freshman.
And it'll be interesting to see how Sanchez really deals with the second half, because he was out there for all 20 minutes last half. And he usually really platoons with Iser Barnes and Ty Lee.
10 points in the first half for Sanchez. Went on the bench for maybe 20 seconds with the 2 fouls. 3 off the mark from Bynum, just his second shot, first miss of the day. Powers gives it to Barnes, who's always looking to push the pace. Barnes finds Powers, passes up on the 3 on the closeout from Rodriguez, able to find Freeman, even at 43, the second time that Powers has found Freeman in the half, and Freeman up to double digits now with his 10 points.
2 returners with very good chemistry, knowing where each one is really going with the ball.
Samuel across for Perry. A bit out of his range right now behind the three-point line. Bynum making the cut. Mismatch right now as he's being guarded by Powers. Bynum makes the cut. Samuel has it stripped away. Barnes and Sanchez there. Sanchez running 2-on-1, and Powers is blocked from behind. Great job by Perry coming back, but Sanchez makes the steal. So much athleticism on both sides right now.
Yeah, really an exciting game to watch. Obviously, in the first half, it was quick-paced and a lot of athleticism.
Sanchez all the way. Sorry about that, Steve. Freeman taps the rebound, looking to find Sanchez. Finally into the hands of Samuel. Bynum working on Barnes. Doesn't seem to be 100% himself. Bynum the long 2, off the mark. Powers the rebound ahead for Barnes. 1-on-3, goes all the way. Bynum just trying to get out of the way, and the Beacons take the lead at 45-43.
Receiving complimentary popcorn here in the press box. Thank you to the UMass women's softball team.
Always a great supporter of the other teams, running concessions today at the Clark. Perry gets Freeman to go up top, takes the 4-footer. Trayvon Perry has the shooting touch. He's got 16 points, 8 of 10 from the field. Trayvon, first time had 14 points and 3 rebounds against UMass Boston. His season high is 20 this year against Southern Maine. Powers looking for Freeman, couldn't handle it. Out of bounds off the knee of Freeman, and it'll go back to Western with the game all tied up at 45.
And Sam Freeman coming into this half with 8 points. Really interesting to see how he plays in the second half.
Freeman went off for a career-high 30 the first time these two teams have played. He's gone over 20 points, half dozen occasions. Bynum finding Perry with Freeman giving him room up top for Rodriguez. Elias will take the deep 3, drains it. Clean look for Elias Rodriguez, sophomore guard out of Bristol. He gives his team a 48-45 lead. Sanchez calling out instructions from the NCAA logo. 1 in Freeman, gives it over for Powers up top. Freeman looking for the ball, working against Perry. Catches it, immediately met by 2 players, and it'll be Rashard Rodriguez picking up his 3rd on the reach it.
And there was a lot of fouls on Western Connecticut in the first half, which led to a lot of Beacons free throws. It'll be interesting to see if they keep up with that in the second half.
Just the first foul for either side, 3rd on the team for Rodriguez. We're 4 minutes and 15 minutes into the second half. Western leads 48-45. We'll take a commercial break and be back with more Little East Conference action here on the Beacons Broadcast Network.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
Take a look right now at the Little East Conference out-of-town scoreboard from the first half of those games. Eastern Connecticut State almost tripling up Southern Maine. Rhode Island College trailing Plymouth State. The interesting game there, Keene State and UMass Dartmouth. Both of those teams towards the top of the conference. The Beacons will play UMass Dartmouth Wednesday, Keene State next Saturday. Both of those games at home, so Beacons fans should be watching out for that score. Sinelli back into the game. Freeman taps it over for Sanchez. Sam Freeman has such a long wingspan for a 6'4" player. Sanchez, another missed layup. He's really trying hard to get to the hole, but unable to finish there. Maybe his third missed layup of the half.
And 3 home games coming up. The Beacons are actually, UMass Boston campus is starting to get going next Monday. Classes start.
Trayvon Perry misses the 2. Rebound into the hands of Sinelli out there with Sanchez, Powers, Barnes, and Freeman. Powers rumbles to the hole, finishes with the left hand, bringing the Beacons within 1, 48-47. Marcus Brown back into the game, joined by Elias Rodriguez, Trayvon Perry, Bobby Bynum, and Aaron Samuel. 4 starters out there for Western Connecticut State. Kirksey heads back to the scorer's table for the Beacons. Near side from the wing. Brown gets a screen from Perry up top for Rodriguez. Looking back down low. Great job to find Bynum, and the lead is 50-47.
Bynum looked like he's getting back into a groove on the floor after really being non-existent in the first half.
Just points 3 and 4 thus far for him. Sanchez threw a little bit of contact, slowed him down. Powers whips to the far side. Barnes looking to drive past Bynum, stays up in the air, can't finish. Freeman the tip in, and Sam's up to 14 points, tops on the Beacon.
And that's what he gets with his size. I mean, it's so easy to put back a rebound like that just because he has so much of a size differential.
Western Connecticut State didn't get a body on him either. Bynum from the elbow, 4 points in a row for Western Connecticut State. The lead back to 3, 52-49 with 14 minutes to play. No movement from the Beacons offense at this point. Now Freeman finds himself on the block. Immediately 3 bodies come with him. Powers underneath Rodriguez. Another basket down low, 52-51.
Very aggressive player for the Beacons. He takes it to the basket hard when he does.
Says Metzkis and Jouch Green head to the scorer's table for Western. Sinelli unable to get the steal. Samuel pulls up from the free throw line. Way too much velocity behind that. The Beacons looking to run 2-on-2. Barnes with Sinelli to his right. Leaves it off for him. The Beacons lead and 1. 53-52. Unselfish play from Barnes. And the Beacons will have a chance to extend the lead even further.
And Kirksey checking into the game right now for Barnes. Barnes, a very good player for the Beacons. You can see it right there. Unselfish, very team guy, team-oriented. Was on this team last year. Didn't have the significance that he plays now. Obviously, he's playing the majority of the game.
Sinelli up to 9 points after the made free throw. The Beacons with a 54-52 advantage. Green looking to answer all the way to the hoop around Powers. Jouch Green is so long, so fast, and so strong. One of the tougher covers in this conference.
Yeah, it looked like he took 6 steps to get to the basket.
Well, nothing like Russell Westbrook's this week where he actually took 6 steps before realizing he was playing basketball. Powers down low for Freeman around, says Metzkis, who's lucky to be given the foul there. Otherwise, Freeman was going to put it down with authority.
Yeah, still slammed it after the play. Like to see that.
It's allowed in basketball, not in hockey. Although it'd be difficult to slam dunk a puck in hockey, but we'll leave that for another day. Powers trying to feed it for Freeman, had it stripped away. Green almost had a chance for fast break. Will go with Beacons back. Chance for the N1, can't finish. He'll head to the line nonetheless.
Green really giving a spark to this Colonials offense right now. Really taking to the hoop with authority.
On the last possession, it was Metzkis picking up his second. Sanchez picks up his third. First player for UMass Boston with 3 fouls. Rashard Rodriguez right now on the bench for the Colonials with 3. Jouch Green a chance to add to his total. Knocks down the first. Green, an all-rookie team selection a year ago on the season, shooting 61.8%. Came in second on the team with 89 free throw attempts. Already 3 for 4, make it 3 for 5. Tried to track down his own rebound. Sinelli grabbed it. Green strips him. Wide open. Samuel in the paint. Powers trying to avoid giving the foul. Sinelli is fouled from behind. Not sure which of the 3 WestCon players is going to be called for the push.
And the Beacons already 4 fouls, already gotten pulled. With the Colonials already 4 fouls in this half. We talked about it before and how good the Beacons really have been free throw shooting today.
Top free throw shooting team in the conference. Second foul on Jouch Green. Sanchez around Brown all the way through, can't finish. Rebound ends up in the hands of Green, and that means it's a fast break. Green trying to avoid the players coming in from behind, able to finish with the left hand. Jouch Green must play NBA 2K17 and just run the ball the entire time. This man does not want to go into the half-court offense, and you can understand why with his ability to finish over the smaller Beacons. Freeman, the 8-foot jumper, no good. Powers is called for the push-off. That's his third. Just a little bit too much contact with Aaron Samuel. 12-12 to go. The next whistle could be the media.
And that's what you're going to get with Dan Powers, a very physical player and a very good defensive player, but gets into foul trouble very often.
Sinelli will check out. Kirksey and Barnes back in there. That's one of the instances where if Powers is working against one of the many bigs for Western Connecticut State, might get away with it. Samuel, one of their smaller players, an easy call. Brown, the runner, unable to finish. Freeman swats it out of bounds with 12:02 to go.
And something to look at, the Beacons bench not really being utilized today. Mohamed Gabor obviously hasn't gotten in the game. He sees significant minutes. Ty Lee obviously hasn't seen. And you talked about it, Maurice McGrath also hasn't came in the game. So they're really on a short bench right now for the Beacons.
Green over the smaller Kirksey, too strong. Says Metzger skies the rebound. Can't finish with a right-hand hook shot. Ball tapped out of the hands of Neil Cesar when he was surrounded by his teammates.
And you can see that the Beacons are a little bit careless with the basketball lately. You got to wonder if that's from fatigue.
Cesar back into the game for Powers as they try to get him a rest with those 3 fouls. Brown nearly lost the dribble. He's called for the travel. That'll get us to the media timeout. 11:37 to go in regulation. The Beacons trailing by 3, looking for the season sweep of Western Connecticut State. We'll take a timeout along with the teams. So it'll be UMass Boston ball out of the break.
Go Beacons! Let's go Beacons! Let's go Beacons!
Come on, Jake.
As usual, she wins it. A chance in front. Her shot is in the net. Crystal laid it. Yet another goal.
Please make a gift to the Beacon Athletic Fund today. We want you on our team.
Western Connecticut State has their 5 out there. It'll be Green, Brown, Bynum, Sesmetskis, and Curtin. 4 bench players and the team's leading scorer. For the Beacons, Sanchez, Freeman, Kirksey, Barnes, and Cesar. Cesar to inbound. Sanchez is going to get double teamed. Sandwich there between Green and Brown. Green will step off as Barnes came over to help. Sanchez, the freshman point guard out of Salem, Mass., had the final 4 points in a 93-90 win over Western. All 4 coming in the last 11 seconds down in Danbury. Barnes thought about the step-back 3. Over to Cesar looking to drive on Green. Dished it off for Kirksey, able to finish over a pair of Colonials, cutting the deficit to 57-56.
Kirksey, so dominant down low with absolutely no size to him. I mean, such a great player.
7 points, all of them coming down low. Bynum over the smaller Sanchez can't finish. And a rare easy rebound for the Beacons as Cesar had no one around him. Sanchez leaves it off for Freeman from the free throw line, and one opportunity. We're going to see that one again.
Sammy Freeman will go to the line for 2.
Freeman caught that ball at the free throw line, leapt, and draws the third foul on Sesmetskis. So we'll take a look at that one as soon as we have it for you. Misses the free throw, ends up in the hands of Green. Curtin ahead of the pack. trying to take the lead right back, and he gets the benefit of the roll. 59-58, back and forth these two teams go.
Very high-paced game. We talked about it before. Not a large bench. You got to wonder if he's going to substitute some of the guys at the end of the bench.
Freeman out for Cesar. Thought about the three. Had to pull it back out. Powers heads to the scorer's table with 10:25 to go. Barnes works around a Freeman screen. Long two. Nothing but net, and the Beacons take the lead at 60-59.
Iser Barnes has really developed his shot in the last couple years. The last year, obviously.
Linden State College transfer, spent his first 2 years up in Vermont, joined the Beacons last season. The Beacons a chance to run, 3-on-2. Barnes dishes it for Sanchez, a bit out of his reach, has to pick up the dribble, needs help. Holding the pivot foot to Freeman and right back, 20 on the shot clock, under 10 to play. The Beacons holding a 1-point lead. Barnes, a nice job to find Freeman down low, can't quite get the dunk, but he forces the timeout, and the Beacons their largest lead in a while at 62-59.
Great ball movement by the Beacons to get that basket. Very unselfish play for Iser Barnes.
Going to take a timeout and look at the last two highlights that involve Sam Freeman. UMass Boston using their big man to take the lead right back.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and I know how powerful words can be. The term gay doesn't mean stupid, lame, or less than.
So I pledge to speak up if I hear the term gay used in a derogatory way or any other homophobic terms.
If you can play in Division III.
I'm a Division III student athlete, and my teammates unconditionally accepted me as part of their family. So now I pledge to do the same for others. If you can play in Division III.
We'll take a look right now at two highlights that involve the Beacons senior forward. First, the Sanchez dish. Look where Freeman takes off from. A foot inside, and he draws the foul on the bigger Sesmetskis, able to finish. This second one was just as impressive to me. Iser Barnes doing a really nice job of taking a good shot and making it an even better one. Dishing it down low, wide open Freeman. He wanted the dunk, couldn't quite get up high enough. And Sam Freeman has been the Beacons' best player here in the second half, up to 18 points at this point, with the Beacons leading by 3.
Seth, you see it all the time. Wide open, you want to slam it down, but sometimes you just can't get it in the net. Smart move by Freeman just to lay it on in.
And when you say me, you mean the players out on the floor. I definitely can't get it in the net, especially not dunking. It's Green with it, working against Powers back into the game. He gets a piece of it. Perry looking for another basket. He's gone cold here in the second half. Barnes, the rebound, and then the travel. Got those feet shuffling a little bit before he got that first dribble off. For UMass Boston, turnovers have been a bit of a problem. That's turnover number 15. Western has only committed 8 of them. 9:28 to play. The Beacons leading by 3. Brown the inbounds, looking for the tie from Rodriguez. Instead, he'll take a long 2. Beautiful look from Rashard Rodriguez, who's been in foul trouble most of this game. Came into the contest averaging 15 points a contest. Sanchez working against Brown the full length of the court. Gets it across with 3 seconds to spare. Freeman from behind, stripped by Rashard Rodriguez. Brown has Rashard. Instead, he'll go near side for Curtin. Curtin dishes it off for Rodriguez. He's got 4 in a row, and Western has a 1-point lead.
Yeah, you said Rodriguez been in foul trouble. Very aggressive play right there. Almost a reach-in foul, but tips it out and obviously gets the easy basket.
Those are his first 4 points of the game for a guy who's averaging 15. Sanchez dishes off for Kirksey. The little floater can't fall. Powers fighting for the rebound. Curtin gets it. Western had players leaking out. Brown will find Rodriguez. Has the hot hand. Instead, he'll skip it to the near side. Three-pointer from the wing. Curtin well off the mark. Rebound in and out of the hands of Jouch Green. Sanchez over for Freeman, working on the smaller Brown. Powers around a player. Lost his footing, and he can't believe there's no call. Brown ahead for Rodriguez into the corner. Curtin looking for it again. This time he's too strong. Rebound into the hands of Green, and Kirksey's going to be called for the contact. Third on the Beacons with 8:11 to play. Western just utilizing that size advantage.
Yeah, utilizing that size advantage to get a foul on Kirksey. Obviously, there's no way that he could really compete for that rebound.
At the end of one up in Rutland, Vermont, UMass Boston men's hockey trails Castleton University 1-0. The only other game going on right now for UMass Boston. The track and field team at Wheaton College. Don't have any live stats or video from that one. That was the first foul on Kirksey, third on the Beacons. Rodriguez leaves it off for Green over Barnes. Western makes it a 6-0 run and a 65-62 lead with under 8 to play. Sanchez loses it. Bynum's in a ton of pain. Sanchez nearly gets the steal. Green all the way to the hoop. It's an 8-0 run. We're going to get a stoppage and immediate timeout as Bobby Bynum, for the second time today, goes down in a ton of pain. The Beacons need an answer right now, trailing by 5.
What separates UMass Boston from other schools is the fact that a large percentage of students commute. For me, it takes 2 hours each day to go to and from school, but every second has been worth it because the students that come here are serious about learning, they value their education, and understand where it'll take them in the future. This is what UMass Boston means to me.
.7:43 to go. Western Connecticut State just sent John Moat to the scorer's table for the first time. The freshman forward out of Waterbury, Connecticut, has appeared in 15 games prior today, averaging 8.5 minutes, 2 points per game, 1.3 rebounds. It's interesting that Jason Harlow is going further into his bench while the Beacons have kept theirs very short. Really, UMass Boston has just used Cesar and Sinelli on the bench, only 7 deep today with Ty Lee unavailable for one reason or another.
And it looks like Bynum is stretching out the same calf that he kind of hurt before.
Yeah, he's very frustrated. Bobby Bynum, the third leading scorer in the conference, has been held to 6 points on 3 of 7 shooting. He went down late in the first half and had to be attended to by the trainer, and he's still in a ton of pain right now. Western on an 8-0 run to take this 5-point lead. The Beacons looking to answer with 1 media timeout left. Freeman for Powers out there with Barnes, Sanchez, and Kirksey. Sanchez across for Barnes, working on Curtin all the way to the 10. And we're going to get a blocking call on Rashard Rodriguez. Steve, that's a big one. That's already 4 on Rashard and the 7th on Western Connecticut State.
Yeah, this isn't the NBA where you foul out after 6 fouls. It's only 5 fouls in college, which makes it very, very huge that he just had a foul there.
And Rashard had just been getting hot. 4 points during this 8-0 run as Barnes misses the first.
4 points with a couple steals for the Colonials that resulted in easy baskets for them.
He'll be replaced by Aaron Samuel, who's had a decent day of his own. 10 points, 5 rebounds. Barnes knocks down 1 of 2 to cut the 8-0 run and cut the deficit to 67-63. Poor inbounds that went into no man's land. Curtin over Freeman, blocked an easy play there for UMass Boston. The Beacons are running. It's Kirksey leaving it off for Freeman, off the head of Samuel, kept alive by Perry, tries to find Curtin. Only one player back is Barnes. Curtin all the way, and he'll throw it off glass, no good. Freeman, the easy rebound. Sam's up to 18 points and 11 boards, and the Beacons have a chance to make this a one-possession game. Sanchez draws the easy call against Moat, and he'll head to the line for the 1-and-1. That was the 7th on the Colonials.
And this is where the Beacons are going to start making up ground when they try to push the pace, and Western Connecticut can't really handle it, and they foul them.
Beacons 11 for 16 on the day, 68.8%. Western 6 of 9, 66.7 on the year. The Beacons, the top free throw shooting team, as Sanchez misses that one. Beacons came in shooting 73.3%. Western at just 66.8, 4th out of 8 teams in the conference. Beacons unable to convert, though, on the front end. It's Bynum back into the game, working against Freeman. That means that Barnes is working against Perry, and Perry went way too strong. Barnes able to hold on to the ball with Perry trying to strip him. Barnes to the near side for Kirksey, working against 2 players. Called for the travel, an easy call there. He couldn't hold on to the pivot foot. Beacons trailing by 4 with 6:34 to go. They'll send Sinelli and Cesar back out there. Freeman and Barnes to the bench, 2 of their better players. I wonder how long Jason Harris will keep those 2 on the bench. Still 2:34 away from the next media timeout, and that's if it happens right at the 4-minute mark.
Both players not getting a lot of rest today.
Bynum working around Cesar into the lane, tried the left-handed floater, goes out of bounds off of the only player there for Western, Moat. He came up way short on that one, and this just does not look like the Bobby Bynum we expected to see today. been in a ton of pain all game. Clark is deathly silent at this point. 6:15 to go, a 4-point contest. Sanchez from the far corner, looking for Cesar. The Beacons have been deathly quiet from 3. Sinelli's blocked by Perry, gets it back. Powers working on Green, spins, double team, heads to the floor, and the ball is picked up by Green, looking to run. He runs into Sinelli. The foul will come on Dason. There was a lot of contact there, Steve. What did you see on that play?
A lot of contact and an awkward fall by Green. I thought he looked a little hesitant to get up, but he looks fine now. But I thought it was a Dason Sinelli push, honestly.
All right, that's interesting. I thought that Green might have thrown the body, a veteran move there maybe, but if that's what you saw, I can definitely see that as well. Just
I don't think it was that intricate, I'll be honest with you.
Bynum over Barnes, well off the mark. The second time he's looked bad in a row. Powers dribbles through a couple players, and he's going to get the foul late. That whistle coming after Western had stolen the ball away. Bynum will pick up the foul, and Powers has a chance to get 2 points here from the free throw line.
Even though Powers is going to the line, it looks like the Beacons are trying to press a little too much, especially when not Sam Freeman on the floor. I mean, you look at Powers, he's not the guy that you really want bringing up the ball, especially when there's 3 men on him.
Bynum his third foul and immediately collapses on the floor trying to stretch out. Powers hits the first. Freeman back into the game for Cesar. Just about 50 seconds of rest for Freeman. Barnes got less than that. 5:46 to play. Powers hits both to cut the deficit to 2, 67-65. Samuel into the front court, running 1-on-4. And he gets some help from behind by Perry, but neither player able to finish. The Beacons running 1-on-3. Powers ahead for Barnes. It's left off for Kirksey, who's blocked. And Kirksey unable to get the offensive rebound, working against Brown. To the far side, Green around Powers. Whips it in the corner for Samuel. Passes up on the 3. He'll pull up. Little jumper falls, and the lead's back to 4 at 69-65 with 5:20 to play.
Samuel with 10 points today.
Averages 10.8. I think with that, too, he should be up to 12. Sanchez to the far side. Barnes looking for a big 3. Drains it. That's just the Beacons' third 3 of the game. These two teams combined have 6 total made 3-pointers. UMass Boston 3 of 9. Western 3 of 17. 1-point contest, 4:53 to play. Samuel has a screen from Perry, won't take it this time. Near side for Rashard Rodriguez out there with 4 fouls. Turns, has space. Freeman looking for the offensive foul. No call either way. Not enough contact. Rodriguez finishing at the 10. It's a 3-point game, 71-68. Powers getting a screen from Freeman. Green out of the play, and it's out of bounds off the hand of a Colonial.
And it looks like they're putting ice on Bynum's calf, or whatever injury it really is. It looks like he's done for the game.
Yeah, Bynum just has not looked himself even when he's out there. 4 points. He's looked really bad on his last couple of field goal attempts before heading to the bench. Kirksey thought about the 3, gives it back to Barnes. 9 on the shot clock, down to Freeman. Double team, maybe triple team. Turns inside, can't get the finish. Powers the tip, and the Beacons cut it to 1, 71-70.
You can see the Beacons are really hesitant to take the open 3-pointer. They're looking for a better shot with Freeman inside.
With that made field goal, Powers up to 13 points and 11 rebounds, his third consecutive double-double. Green up top, his team leading by 1, draws the contact from Barnes. Just the 5th foul on UMass Boston. For Iser, that's number 2. And that'll get us to our final media timeout. 1-point game with 3:54 to go. UMass Boston looking for the sweep. Western Connecticut State looking for a big road win. One of these teams is going to exit the Clark very happy. The other, it's going to be a long rest of the weekend. We'll find out which team is which after this commercial break.
Celebrate the soggy shoes and the slow starts. Celebrate the lessons learned along the way. These are the wins. Not the shiny, nail-biting kind. These are the last a lifetime kind.
71-70, Western Connecticut State coming out of the final media timeout. 18 fouls against Western Connecticut State, 5 against UMass Boston. The possession arrow in favor of the Colonials. Rashard Rodriguez has 4 fouls for Western Connecticut State. UMass Boston with 3 apiece on Powers and Sanchez. For Western, there's also 3 on Bynum and Sesmetskis. Brown to inbound from underneath the Beacons basket. Out there with Rashard Rodriguez. Joust Green, Trayvon Perry, and Aaron Samuel. Bobby Bynum still limping just outside the bench. Rebound on the offensive end for Brown, and Western will back it out. UMass Boston's bench thought there was a push-off there on Brown against the Beacon. No call. Samuel on the second chance with 17 on the shot clock. Green out wide for Brown, being guarded closely by Sanchez. Is taking a lot of threes, still looking for his first made 3. Rodriguez around his screen, trying to get downhill over Powers, no good. The tap, still no good. Rodriguez, and the foul's going to come on Barnes from the floor, who was on his back. Steve, that actually might benefit the Beacons, as Rodriguez was going to get an open look there. Instead, it's the 3rd on Barnes, and Western's going to get their 4th or 5th chance.
And talking about fouls, I mean, Rodriguez is out there with 4 fouls on the floor. So if the Beacons try to attack him, he could be fouled out.
Jacob Higgins of the men's soccer team will come out and wipe up the floor a bit.
Gotta love that.
New 30 on the shot clock, 3:23 to play in the game. UMass Boston trails by a single point. Marcus Brown looking to inbound, finds Aaron Samuel, who's had a strong offensive performance in this one with 12 points, 3rd most on the team. Brown working against Sanchez, who has 3 fouls. Rodriguez being double-teamed. Finds Perry at the elbow. That one's a bit short, bouncing around. Another offensive rebound. Samuel is blocked. They're going to call the foul, though, and this should go for a pair of free throws. Steve, that's got to be the 5th, 6th look that Western's had on this possession alone.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the UMass that was really dominating the offensive boards and defensive boards before halftime, and they're lacking that right now.
And that one, instead of going on Powers, which would have been his 4th, instead it's on Sanchez. So Sanchez out there with 4 fouls, also with 3 fouls on the possession. The Beacons now up to 7 fouls, and Western will shoot the 1-and-1. Samuel, though, misses both. That's the only positive about that possession for the Beacons. Barnes up top for Sanchez with 20 on the shot clock, out there with Powers, Freeman, and Kirksey. 3 seniors, 1 junior, 1 freshman. Powers up top, takes the long 2, looking to get the lead, a little bit strong, long rebound. Sanchez able to keep it alive. The Beacons with a 2nd look on this possession. UMass Boston trailing by a single point. Sanchez dishes off for Freeman. He can hit from that range, being tempted to by Perry. Powers was calling for it. Sanchez for 3, a little bit off the mark. 2 players there for WestConn. Samuel the rebound. 2:23 to go. Every possession becomes a little bit more pressure as this game goes along, especially if this lead stays at even one possession the rest of the way.
And we talked about the importance of free throws. The Western Connecticut missed those 2 free throws. That puts them at 50% on the game.
Rodriguez towards the basket, gets around Powers, tipped out by Freeman, finds Kirksey. Kirksey tap from behind, another reach in. This will be a 1-and-1. Is it Rodriguez or Trayvon Perry being whistled for this one?
And if it is Rodriguez, he would be out for the rest of the game.
That is a huge blow. Rashard Rodriguez has been great in this second half. Finishes the game with 6 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 assist, but his impact almost came exclusively in this second half, and he'll head to the bench with 2 minutes exactly to go. Kareem Kirksey will shoot the 1-and-1 here, the final 1-and-1 of the game for the Beacons, a chance to tie and potentially give the Beacons the lead. Kirksey's first, nothing but net, tying this game up at 71. This game's a lot lower in scoring than we expected. Remember, WestConn had scored at least 77 points in every game. Only have 2 minutes left, although they easily could get to that total again. Kirksey no good on the second. We're even at 71 with 2 minutes to go after the defensive board by the Colonials. Brown, Perry, Green, Elias Rodriguez back in there, and Aaron Samuel. One Rodriguez for another in the substitution. Green over to the corner. Brown looking for his first three. This one finally falls. The fourth made three for Western Connecticut State, and it's a 74-71 game with 95 seconds left.
Brown really struggling all day. Finally gets the bottom of the net on a three.
He had been 0 for 7 to that point. Sanchez the answer with the left-hand lay, and the Beacons will call the timeout. 74-73, Western Connecticut State leads with 1:22 to play. Stick with us after this commercial break for the exciting finish of a great Little East Conference matchup.
UMass Boston was my first choice because when I came to the campus, I saw that there was a lot of diversity. There's a lot of people. Here there's a lot of international students, so it's really cool to meet people from different countries, different parts of the world. I'm Julia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
I'm Olivia Murphy. I'm from Canton, Massachusetts.
We're sisters.
We're sisters.
I play volleyball and she plays basketball. Here they have a freshman success community. So each major has their own community that you can join as a freshman, and you take classes with them, you do study groups with them. So it was really helpful getting to know people in your major right away.
So in health exercise sciences, we have an internship at the end, so it's so much better to have like an advisor helping you out, like telling you which classes to choose.
Western ball out of the timeout. Remember, folks, stick with us after the game. We'll have an interview with head coach Jason Harris, regardless of the final finish. And the Beacons starting a 4-game homestand. They'll be at home on Wednesday when they take on UMass Dartmouth at 7:30. And then next Saturday they host Keene State before opening January with their final non-conference matchup against Pine Manor. Freeman called for the block. Jason Harris is trying to stay contained, but he's very upset with that call as Freeman camped out along the line, hoping for the travel. And it'll lead to a 1-and-1 here for Jouch Green. Important free throws upcoming for a Western Connecticut State team that, Steve, you keep mentioning it, they're just 6 of 11 from the free throw line.
Yeah, definitely struggling today, and obviously tough officiating for these last 2 games that we've been at. I mean, a lot of fouls called, and just let the kids play. That's what I always say.
Green hits the first. He's 1 for 1 from the 4 for 6 from the free throw line. Has 16 points. It knocks down both to stretch the lead back to 3. 1:21 to play. 76-73 Western Connecticut State. 19 fouls against the Colonials, 8 against the Beacons. Sanchez looking to drive. Had Powers. Instead, he looked for Freeman off of a Colonial and out of bounds.
And Ty Lee still hasn't seen the floor today. Bynum on the injured reserve right now for the Colonials.
Yeah, at the end of the bench right now with his knee wrapped, certainly done for the day. Tough for Western Connecticut State, one of their top players, their top scorer overall. Barnes on the inbounds needs help. He'll throw it out for Sanchez with 19 on the shot clock. Beacons certainly don't need a 3 at this point. Would like a basket to cut into the deficit. Powers over for Kirksey, corner 3 to tie it. Nothing but net, and we're even at 76. Minute exactly to go. See which team can win this final minute, or are we destined for overtime? Brown near side for Green, working around an Elias Rodriguez screen. Green into the corner for Brown, who just hit a 3. He'll dribble around Sanchez, tries to get it over. The Beacons call for a reach-in. This could be the 5th on Iser Barnes. You can hear Jason Harris even through the headset screaming every time at the referees. Instead, that'll actually be the 4th on Barnes. So 4 on Sanchez, 4 on Barnes for the Beacons. We've already seen Rashard Rodriguez foul out for Western Connecticut State, and Marcus Brown will head to the free throw line. He's hit just 1 shot all day. 1 of 8 from the field, 1 of 5 from distance. The 1-and-1, too strong. Kirksey the rebound. We're even at 76. Looking for a tie-up. Instead, Elias Rodriguez is called for the reach-in. And we'll see Kareem Kirksey head to the line for 2.
Yeah, it looked a little physical, a little more than a jump ball. Really got his hand in there.
And on the other side, Jason Harlow expressing his displeasure with the call. Can't argue with him. Neither coach has been happy. None of the fans today have been happy.
In both games.
We'll see Kareem Kirksey, the senior, head to the line for a pair right now. Kirksey at the day, 2 for 4 from the free throw line. 11 points on the day. Knocks down the first thanks to the front of the rim. Kirksey on the season, 74.4% free throw shooter.
And you talked about it. We talked about it last Wednesday. The Beacons really struggled free throw shooting, and they lost the game because of that. So it should be interesting in the last minute
Kirksey, 1 of 2. Powers able to save it off the foot of Perry. What a huge play from Dan Powers. We mentioned the pregame. The player to watch makes a lot of plays that don't show up in the stat sheet. That's one of them. So the Beacons will get it back with 38.6 to play.
Very hard-nosed worker, and I mean, yeah, we mentioned it. He's a defensive guy. He's a hustle guy, and obviously he shows it right there.
Beacons with a 1-point lead with 38.6. Stripped out of the hands of Freeman. Out of bounds off the Jouch Green. 37 seconds left. 26 on the shot clock. The Colonials do not need to foul. They can play out this defensive possession down by a 1. They'll get it back with at least 11 seconds unless the Beacons can extend the possession. Any foul on either side right now, unless it's an offensive foul, will lead to free throws. Sanchez waiting. Has to move to avoid the 5-second call. Brown on him. Back to the near side looking for Powers. Finds Freeman in and out of his hands. Held on to by Perry. And Sam Freeman, the Beacons senior leader, has a chance to go to the line and stretch this lead to potentially 3 points. As Harlow off his bench very upset. Freeman with 20 and 13 thus far. Just his second and third free throw attempts of the day. A man who comes in third on the team at 75.4%.
I was just looking for that stat. You stole it right out of my mind.
Huge free throws for Sam Freeman at UMass Boston. Freeman too strong on the first. That was the third on Trayvon Perry. Either way, Western Connecticut State was going to have a chance to tie. Now they'll have a chance to tie or win. Freeman trying to extend the lead out to 2. The Beacons have struggled down the stretch. Freeman in and out, and it's just a 1-point lead. How often do you see Freeman go 0 for 2? Harlow will call a timeout, and Western Connecticut State will have a chance to play for the win here, and the final possession will take a timeout left. The Beacons 1 for their last 4 from the free throw line, giving Western Connecticut State a chance. We'll be back with the final possession potentially here from the Clark.
UMass Boston is my first choice because of the incredible theater department.
Because it has an excellent honors college.
Because here I get to interact with professors one-on-one.
Because I'm not going to be crazy in debt when I graduate.
Because at UMass Boston, I've met professors who have changed my life.
My first choice.
My first choice.
My first choice.
My first choice.
Make the University of Massachusetts Boston your first choice. Visit umb.edu/first choice.
Western Connecticut State trails by a point, but they have the ball with 21.3 seconds left. A foul will lead to the 1-and-1 unless it's a shooting foul, and they have the possession arrow if the Beacons can get a tie-up.
No Rodriguez, no Bonham. Who do you go to?
Right now, I would say Trayvon Perry or Jouch Green. They're out there with Samuel, Marcus Brown, and Elias Rodriguez. It's up top for Green, looking to spin. Great look around Freeman, over Freeman, and it's a 1-point lead for Western Connecticut State, 78-77. Powers around Green, ahead for Freeman, looking for the win. Freeman goes up, no good. Powers fighting for it, 2 seconds, 1, and we're going to get a foul on the Beacons. Trayvon Perry able to grab the rebound. Jason Harris is screaming at one of the officials as Kareem Kirksey and Icer Barnes behind the play are just shocked by the results of this, how this game is played out. Now the good thing is, that's only 4 on Powers. You still have 1.2 seconds left. That doesn't sound like a lot, but even if Perry hits this, you can get an open look on a 3. You could potentially send this game to overtime, and that's if Perry hits both. Steve, do you purposely miss the second here, trying to make it more difficult for the Beacons to set up?
Oh, definitely, yes. That's what I'd exactly do. I mean, if you get it half court, you have enough time to take a 3, whereas it'd be a full court shot.
Trayvon Perry hits the first, 79-77 in favor of the Colonials. Get a Beacons timeout. See what Jason Harris can script up. With 1.2 seconds left. So you're going for the purposely missed free throw. The rebound obviously becomes huge. Remember, in basketball, 0.7 seconds is the demarcation line. You have to have at least 0.7 seconds left to get off a jump shot. You can tip it in with less than 0.7, but otherwise, doesn't matter what you're doing. As we'll see Mohamed Gabor check in for his 3-point shooting. Freshman out of Arlington.
And this Clark Athletic Center has gone quiet. The fans are in awe on the way this game has really turned out.
Free throw shooting could be the Beacons' Achilles heel for a second straight game.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back on it, Sam Freeman had 2 free throws, missed them both.
Beacons down to 15 of 25, 60%. They had a wide edge on Western just moments ago, but missing 3 of their last 4. Western 8 of 14. Huge free throw here for Perry. Referee going over to the scorer's table. Perry to the line with 1.2 seconds left. His team up by 2. Purposely misses. Rebound in the hands of Powers. Tries to get it off. The Beacons can't believe there's no foul there as there's a Western player contacting him. The Beacons lose 79-77. Steve, a second consecutive loss for the Beacons where they gave up the final couple points in the loss. And I think Jason Harris, who's extremely frustrated right now, has some good reason for complaint about some of the no calls late in this contest.
Yeah, I mean, you saw the officiating in the first game. You saw it now. It's a tough way to go, especially when they take the game out of the players' hands.
Well, just as we saw in the women's game, the team that lost the first contest comes back and wins the second. Both of these two teams splitting during the regular seasons. Western Connecticut State improves to 3-4 in conference. UMass Boston falls to 3-4 as well. We're going to take a commercial break, and then we'll see if Jason Harris will join us on the air down low as the Beacons fall 79-77.
2-2 pitch swung on and missed.
Kyle Strowski from Agawam, Massachusetts. I'm a senior here at UMass Boston. I'm a marketing major. Probably have to say my favorite moment was my no-hitter my freshman year. Being a freshman, especially just making a statement right away. Seeing the reactions on the seniors' faces. It was something that was a lot of fun to be a part of. If you want to play and you want to compete for championship every year, definitely UMass Boston is a good place to come look at.
And now, this one's launched right center field. That's going to win the game for the Beacons. It is down.
LEC is probably best division in college D3 baseball in the country. Play against the top competition every year. I think we have a top 10 schedule in the country this year. So we're young, but we also mix in with a good group of junior college transfers.
To Barnes, who's always looking to push the pace. Barnes finds Powers, passes up on the 3 on the closeout from Rodriguez, able to find Freeman, even in Perry, with Freeman giving him room up top for Rodriguez. Elias will take the deep 3, drains it. Clean with Sanchez, Powers, Barnes, and Freeman. Powers rumbles to the hole, finishes with the left hand. At this point, now Freeman finds himself on the block. Immediately, 3 bodies come with him. Powers underneath Rodriguez. Another bat. The Beacons looking to run 2-on-2. Barnes with Snelly to his right. Leaves it off for him. The Beacons lead and 1. 53-3. Had to pull it back out. Powers heads to the scorer's table with 10:25 to go. Barnes works around a Freeman screen. Long 2. Nothing but net. And the Beacons had no one around him. Sanchez leaves it off for Freeman from the free throw line. And 1 opportunity. Holding the pivot foot to Freeman and right back. 20 on the shot clock, under 10 to play. The Beacons holding a 1-point lead. Barnes, a nice job to find Freeman down low. Can't play. Sanchez loses it. Bynum's in a ton. Averages 10.8. I think with that, too, he should be up to 12. Sanchez to the far side. Barnes looking for a big 3. drains it. The three gives it back to Barnes. 9 on the shot clock. Down to Freeman. Double team, maybe triple team. Turns inside, can't get the finish. Powers the tip, and the Beacons at this point would like a basket to cut into the deficit. Powers over for Kirksey, corner three to tie it. Nothing but net, and we're even at 70. Rodriguez. It's up top for Green, looking to spin. Great look around Freeman, over Freeman.
I'm Elizabeth Flavin, sophomore business management major from Edina, Minnesota. I love being a part of this volleyball team. Volleyball is what brought me to UMass Boston. I looked at our recruiting website one last time and saw UMass Boston on it, came out for a visit the next week, and it kind of hit all the boxes that I was looking for. In a good city, good academic school, good volleyball program. It had everything I wanted. Although it was far away from home, I knew this is where I wanted to be. Winning 6 back-to-back LEC titles is really a dynasty, I think, and Terry has really focused hard on recruiting and building this dynasty and continuing to build a program that can continue to win championships, and it's really lucky to be a part of something this great. Last year I was the Little East Conference Defensive Player of the Year, All-Conference second team, NCAA Regional MVP of the regional tournament, ABC All-Region Honorable Mention, and New England Women's Volleyball Association All-Rookie Team and Honorable Mention. I think my favorite game would have to be playing in the regional championship last year. We played against a really good Williams team, and I think that match, we started off a little shaky and lost the first set. We've lost in the whole playoff season, and I think that kind of shook us a little bit. We came back firing, and we're ready to go those next couple games. Our coaches are bringing in a lot of really strong girls who want to make a commitment and make an impact in this program, and I think that is why we're continuing to do well and will continue to do well for the next few years. Being a student here has been really awesome as well. I've recently started taking more of my business classes and found that's a good choice and a good fit for me. And eventually I hope to open my own business and kind of be successful and do what I love at the end of the day.
Welcome back to the Clark Athletic Center, folks. Sorry about the lack of an interview audio. Forgot to turn on the microphone. That'll happen sometimes. I can sum up Jason Harris's sentiments in a couple of words. He was very disappointed by the referee's inconsistency. That was said a couple of times. Right now we'll take a look at the final statistics, the team stats first. UMass Boston out shooting Western Connecticut State from the field, from the line, from the three-point line. Out-rebounded them, but the 21 turnovers, certainly a backbreaker in today's contest.
21 turnovers, and just when you look at the obviously, it was free throws at the end of the game. Yes, they did a good job throughout the whole game. They hit down a lot of free throws, but it was at the end of the game where they scuffled.
Western Connecticut State turning those 21 Beacons turnovers into a 27-7 advantage in points off turnovers. Also had their bench outscore the Beacons 35-9. Right now we'll look at the team leaders for the two sides. Western Connecticut State had to use a couple of players who aren't typically their top scorers. Jouch Green with 19 points, 17 for Trayvon Perry, 12 more for Aaron Samuel, and 11 for Evan Curtin. For the Beacons, 5 players in double figures. Freeman with 20, 13 from Barnes, 12 each from Sanchez and Kirksey, and 11 from Dan Powers. Freeman and Powers both finishing with double-doubles. Aaron Samuel led Western Connecticut State with his 8 rebounds. Right now we'll take a look ahead for UMass Boston. 3 more home games coming up. Beacons will hope to get some better results. They're home on Wednesday against UMass Dartmouth at 7:30. Next Saturday, a home date with Keene State College at 3, and then they host Pine Manor College in the Beacons' final non-conference game. Wrapping up our doubleheader, we'd like to give a shout-out to our production crew. My name is Seth Dorensky, your producer and play-by-play guy, joined by Steve Witkowski. Instant replay was actually Pepper Baker. Alex Carasoto and Anthony Searles, your directors. Carly Robinson, Brian Kaufman, Sal Frashino, and Lauren Mitziaris, your camera operators for this one. The Beacons women's team earned the win in the first game. The Beacons men's team falls just short, 79-77 in game number 2. That'll do it from the Clark. A split on Little East Conference Saturday.